The residence of Grand Duke Winthrop in the Ragnick Empire. Two ladies stand before the gate. One is Evelyn, with her brown hair in a bun. The other is Bella, with long, curly brown hair. They're the new nannies. A silver-haired man walks up. I'm a Grand Duke's butler. Arlen. Arlen turns and leads the way, guiding them through the gate. From now on, you will be responsible for the young master's daily life, he explains as he walks. First, please familiarize yourselves with the residence's layout. The master is not a particularly difficult person, but having been through many battles, he is sensitive about rules and order. You must be careful. Arlen gestures. This is the residence's drawing room. Unless there are important guests, he usually receives them here. Bella's gaze is drawn to a portrait on the wall. That person. It is. Arlen's voice is steady. That is His Highness, Grand Duke Lean Winthrop. Bella stares at Lean's portrait. So this is Grand Duke Lean. His lips curve into a slight smile. He's exactly as I imagined. I came all this way just to see you. A shimmering golden book appears. It reads, The Crimson Throne and the Silver Vow. The story's protagonist, Kyle Winthrop, the Emperor's illegitimate son, meets his savior, Duke Rutherford, on the eve of his assassination and is adopted by the Duke. As fate would have it, he falls in love with the Duke's daughter. To win her love, he resolves to reclaim his true identity. At this time, the Ragnick Empire is suffering. Under the rule of the tyrant Emperor Adrian Winthrop, the people are living in misery. Kyle leaves the Duke's household and joins the rebel army, demonstrating extraordinary leadership. The rebel army eventually succeeds in overthrowing the Emperor, but the joy of victory is fleeting. In despair, the imprisoned Emperor's nephew, Alan Winthrop, takes his younger brother with him. The Empire is once again heading towards ruin. Unable to bear seeing the tragedy repeat, Kyle personally executes Alan Winthrop. After proving his lineage, Kyle ascends to the throne. In the end, he marries his beloved and makes her his empress. This is a historic moment. The darkness shrouding the Ragnick Empire is dispelled. The Emperor looks down at his pierced chest. A woman sits in front of a computer, her fingers flying across the keyboard. This is the outline of the novel I wrote while working part-time and staying up all night. She rubs her temples. Ugh, how many times have I revised this? The final villain Alan's appearance is important. Why does it feel so rushed? But if I just finish this chapter, I can pay off my younger sibling's student loans. She suddenly feels a sharp pain. Oh, my head is spinning. No, she collapses heavily onto the floor. I haven't submitted the manuscript yet. Am I really going to die from overwork? My life wasn't exactly happy, so I don't have many regrets. If I had to name one, it's that I couldn't finish the novel I poured my heart and soul into. Heaven is so cruel. The final villain just appeared, and now it's about to end. Miss, a voice calls out. Miss, are you awake? Vinia's eyes fly open. Ugh. She lies in bed, hand on her forehead, completely bewildered. What? I'm still alive? Did someone take me to the hospital? She sits up abruptly, looking around. Where is this? Is this some new concept hospital? It can't be a VIP room, can it? I don't have the money to pay for it. Please, tell me this is a dream. She pinches her own cheek hard. Ouch, it hurts. The maid urges impatiently. Miss Vinia, you must hurry and get ready. We have an important guest this afternoon. Have you forgotten? Vinia is stunned. What did you just say? The maid reminds her again. Hurry, before the Count says something. Miss Vinia, the Count's daughter, are you listening at all? If this isn't a dream, have I been transmigrated into a character from my own novel? And a character who dies without even a single line of dialogue at that. My God, this is absurd. Of all people, a super minor character, Vinia Tangerlin. Why not a rich merchant or a queen? The Tangerlin family are corrupt nobles who support the tyrant emperor Adrian Winthrop. The current head of the family, Count Tangerlin, sent several of his own daughters to be the emperor's concubines to curry favor with him. He's the scum of the earth. But at what point in the story have I arrived? I can be sure. It's before Count Tangerlin sells Vinia off as a concubine. Two maids are chatting in the garden. Did you hear? Grand Duke Lean Winthrop is returning today. He's not a Grand Duke anymore, is he? I heard His Majesty bestowed the title of Archduke upon him. I heard he's exceptionally handsome. Even men would fall for him. Let's go take a look after work. I'm not going. So what if he's handsome? He's the Emperor's brother. They must be two of a kind. But he's different. He's the Empire's hero. The day Lean returns to the capital. Lean is the Emperor's brother and also Alan Winthrop's father. Wait, The maid said an important guest is coming today. If the day of the guest's visit is the same day Lean returns, today is the day Vinia is offered to the emperor. A few days after entering the palace, Vinia will be killed by the emperor simply because she didn't dare to look him in the eye. I can't just die for nothing. I have to escape immediately. A knock on the door. Miss, are you ready? The maid pushes the door open. If you've changed, it's time to go downstairs. She lets out a scream. The room is empty, with only a dress thrown on the floor. Vinia walks down the streets of the town, the sunlight shining on her. Haha, I can't believe it was this easy to get out. The Count's manor is nothing special. According to the transmigration novel formula, I should be dead in the real world. I worked so hard, yet I died so meaninglessly. I even arranged a fan signing event for this work because I love the actors so much. Vinia sighs. Oh well, as long as I don't die here and hold on, maybe I can return to reality. Anyway, now that I'm out, I need to find a job to support myself. I will eat well and live well here. A man bumps into Vinia forcefully and snatches her handbag. Don't even think about it. She panics. No, all my money is in there. Vinia chases after him in a rage. Hey, you thief! Stop right there. The thief looks back with a sneer. You think you can catch me? A foot suddenly sticks out, tripping the thief. He falls heavily to the ground with a thud. Edward stands there, holding Vinia's bag. I saw you acting suspiciously, following this lady. Just as I thought. His eyes are cold as he warns the thief on the ground. Get lost. If I catch you again, I won't be so gentle. Edwards hands the bag to Vinia. Here you go, miss. It's not safe to be alone at night. Vinia takes the bag and sighs. Thank you. The sun hasn't even set, and I almost got robbed. Edwards sizes Vinia up. Judging by your attire, you must be a noble lady. Why are there no servants with you? Vinia laughs awkwardly. Huh, I was just bored. I can't just say I ran away from home, can I? Edwards thinks to himself. She looks like a runaway noble lady, but the way she talks is not noble at all. He turns to leave. The roads are dangerous. Please take care of your belongings. I'll take my leave now. Vinia hurriedly calls out to him. Please wait. You're my savior. At least tell me your name. Edwards turns back, a smile on his face. I was just doing my duty. Since you asked, I'll tell you. I am His Majesty's guard, Edwards Karma. Vinia's smile freezes on her face. Wait. Edwards Karma? The Edwards who, as the Emperor's right-hand man, committed all sorts of atrocities? Karma. Edwards asks, why do you look so surprised? Vinia clutches her handbag tightly, forcing a smile. It's just so amazing to be helped by someone of your high status. You ask me why? Because you're completely different from the Edwards I know. Completely different. Edward's expression is calm. It's just my duty. The capital's security has been unstable recently. Please be careful. You give a slight bow. I'll take my leave. Vinia lets out a long sigh of relief. Phew, I never thought I'd be saved by a villain. She clutches her handbag. I have to find a safe place to stay before sunset. I escaped without any plan. Where should I go now? If I had really been robbed, I would have been in big trouble. Even though this is the world of a novel I wrote, I can't possibly know everything that happens here. The tyrant emperor is running rampant. In this feudal society, politics are chaotic and public order is a mess. The common people, who lack food and clothing, will do anything to survive. They will stop at nothing. Where can I go to live safely? The protagonists are still too young, and Duke Rutherford's family has dealings with Count Tangerlin. That path is not an option. I must find someone who doesn't know Vinia and doesn't know Count Tangerlin. I'm a character like that. Vinia falls into deep thought. That's right, Grand Duke Lean. The maids mention him. The imperial power of the Winthrop family is in the hands of the eldest son, Adrian Winthrop. His younger brother is Lean Winthrop, a national hero beloved by the people, who was unjustly killed by the emperor. 10 years later, Lean's son, Alan Winthrop, forms a rebel army to take revenge on the emperor. He succeeds. The flames of revenge burn everything. You will never understand how long I've waited for this moment. However, he is consumed by madness, endlessly slaughtering everyone. Father, it's almost over. Alan's goal is to destroy the empire. The tyrant emperor created the final villain with his own hands. Morning sunlight streams into the room. Vinia washes her face at a basin. She takes simple clothes from the wardrobe and quickly changes. Due to the Emperor's suspicion, Lean has been stationed at the border for years, so he is not familiar with Count Tangerlin. And Lean is still alive. Alan won't turn to the dark side. Lean Winthrop is the character I wrote to love his people the most. Even if he's a bit rough, I wrote that he treats his servants with great kindness. This is the best way for me to survive. Vinia puts her hands on her hips, her eyes shining with determination. I just need to go serve the Grand Duke. Disguised employment will do. The streets are in an uproar. Look, he's here. The war hero has come. It's Grand Duke Winthrop. He's so handsome. Grand Duke, please save us from the Emperor's tyranny. The Grand Duke is here. Our lives will surely get better. Yes, he must do it. Lean sits on his horse with a grim expression. I haven't been back to the capital in a long time. I didn't expect the Emperor's reputation to have fallen this low. What on earth is my brother doing? The crowd waves at Lean's procession. Your Highness, please take care of us commoners. A guard announces loudly, Your Majesty, Grand Duke Lean Winthrop requests an audience. Emperor Adrian Winthrop sits on the throne, with Edward standing at his side. Let him enter. Lean kneels on one knee, hand on his chest. Greetings, Your Majesty, the son of the Empire. Emperor Adrian looks down at him. Rise. You are a hero of Ragnick. There is no need for such formalities. Lean does not rise. I am Your Majesty's eternal subject. No matter how many merits I achieve, they are all Your Majesty's accomplishments. A slight smile plays on the Emperor's lips. Very good. Rise. Since the news of victory arrived, the people of the capital have been in a frenzy, preparing a grand welcome ceremony for you. Lean lowers his eyes. Rumors and gossip always exaggerate. Emperor Adrian's gaze sharpens. Is that so? When you were born, there was a prophecy that you would become the Empire's savior. Aren't the people calling you a savior now as well? Lean's expression remains unchanged. They merely wish to flatter the royal family. A savior? How absurd. As your humble subject, I believe that the wise Your Majesty would never believe such nonsense. Emperor Adrian grins. You're right. If I believed it, how could I have granted you the title of Grand Duke? I'm just worried you'll be swept away by the cheers of the people and get foolish ideas. Get foolish ideas. Lean looks up, his gaze firm. Please rest assured, Your Majesty. I am well aware of my duties and will abide by them. I will never do anything to harm our motherland. Ragnick. Emperor Adrian nods in satisfaction. Very good. You've had a long journey. Go back to your residence and rest for now. Lean bows deeply. Yes, I shall take my leave. Emperor Adrian watches Lean's departing back and asks Edwards beside him, Answer me. If it were you, would you believe his words? Edwards bows his head slightly. Your Majesty, whether his words are from the heart, we can only judge by observing his actions. A golden glint flashes in Emperor Adrian's eyes. That's right. Calling Lean back to the capital was the right choice. Lean and Arlen stand in the residence's main hall. It is covered in cobwebs and in a state of disrepair. Arlen, didn't His Majesty say he would send court attendants to repair the residence? Arlen replies respectfully, Yes. That was the message I received. However, what I see is this scene. We'd better hire people to fix up the courtyard tomorrow. Arlen's face shows his indignation. But granting you the title of Grand Duke, summoning you back to the capital, and personally providing a residence, wasn't His Majesty's intention to appear magnanimous? I'm so furious. Lean raises a hand to stop him. That's enough. It is what it is. We just need to do our respective duties. Arlen bows his head. Yes, master. Lean turns and asks, Where's Alan? Arlen bows. Master, the young master has been following your daily schedule. He has just finished his meal and is having his imperial history lesson. Lean continues to ask, Have you found an Annie's? Arlen replies, We've received recommendations. They are all experienced mothers. They should arrive at the residence in about a week. Lean walks down the corridor. I see. I don't like to wait. Make sure all candidates arrive within a week. A week later, the magnificent Grand Duke's residence is completely renewed. Lean walks into the main hall, followed by his aide-de-camp, Owen. Arlen steps forward. Master, these are the new nannies, Bella and Evelyn. Vinia and the other woman bow together. I must get used to this identity. From now on, my name is Bella. I couldn't enter the Grand Duke's residence with my Tangerlin identity. I could only use the jewels I brought to buy a new identity. A woman named Bella. She was practically sold to the Grand Duke's residence, leaving behind her newborn child. Vinia smiles and proposes to her. Lend me your name, and I'll go in your place. Bella had no reason to refuse this fortune. She accepted my offer. Lean scrutinizes the Vinia before him. I've read the personal information you submitted, but could I have been found out this quickly? Impossible. Lean asks, You say your name is Bella? Vinia nervously clutches her skirt. Yes. Lean turns to Arlen. Take them down and explain the rules of the residence in detail. Arlen bows and accepts the order. As you command. This way. Please. Arlen leads Vinia and Evelyn away. Lean turns to his aide. Owen, right? Didn't you have something to report? Owen steps forward. Yes. As you commanded, I checked the tax records for the past few years. Just as you said, Grand Duke, the taxes are heavy and the people are full of complaints. Lean's eyes darken. There is much to be done. Also, investigate the nannies' backgrounds, especially the one named Bella. Owen is a little puzzled. Is there something suspicious? Her hands are smooth and delicate, without a single callus. A woman who has just given birth and been wandering around looks like this? She might be a spy sent by my brother. Go and find out. Arlen introduces the residents to Vinia and Evelyn. This is the young master's dining regulations. The master personally created the menu. You must follow it strictly. Vinia looks at the dense rules on the wall. Dinner must be finished before 5 p.m. All eating is forbidden after that. If caught sneaking sweets, you will be punished according to military law. Intermittent fasting and a managed diet for a child who hasn't even started elementary school. Arlen interrupts Vinia's thoughts. Listen, you can read these rules slowly later. For now, follow me. Vinia and Evelyn immediately follow. Yes, butler. Arlen leads them towards a magnificent door. This is the young master's room. You will normally live in the servants' quarters and take turns sleeping in the small room next door when on duty. Arlen's expression turns serious. The young master must wake up at 6 a.m. every day. More important than washing the young master is waking him up on time. The master is extremely particular about punctuality. You must absolutely not be late. Understood? Evelyn clasps her hands. Yes, I will definitely comply. So that's how you're supposed to greet. I'll just imitate her for now. Vinia bows her head. Yes, Butler Arlen, I will definitely comply. As long as I keep imitating, I should be able to learn the etiquette of this world soon enough. Arlen turns. Let's continue. Arlen leads the two through a sunlit courtyard. Now we'll go see the training ground. A stern shout is heard. Harder. Concentrate. A boy is struggling to swing a wooden sword. Good. Harder. Arlen points to the center of the training ground. The one training there is the Winthrop family's young Master Allen. He always works this hard so as not to disappoint the Grand Duke. The boy is drenched in sweat, panting, his hands gripping the sword hilt tightly. Vinia's gaze is captivated. That child is Allen. Allen Winthrop. The final villain of the novel is this child right in front of me. They turned such an innocent and adorable child into a villain. I, the author, and the worst of all. The trigger for Allen's turn to darkness was the death of his father, Lean Winthrop. But what if Lean doesn't die? If he doesn't experience the pain of losing his father, would Allen's life be completely different? Arlen continues his instructions. The young master trains every morning until noon. This is the master's arrangement. No one is to disturb him during this time. After his training ends, we will go and attend to him. Vinia and Evelyn rise and answer. Yes, the bell tolls, announcing the arrival of noon. Arlen announces, it's rest time now. It's a good time to go and greet the young master. He turns to young Master Allen. Young Master, these are the new nannies, Bella and Evelyn. Vinia and Evelyn bow. Little Allen glances at them. I know. Vinia observes him carefully. Strange, he's sweating too much. His complexion isn't good either. Arlen continues to introduce them. Starting today, these two will be responsible for taking care of you, young master. Please choose one to be your exclusive nanny. Little Allen asks with a blank expression, do I have to choose? He raises his hand and points at Evelyn without hesitation. Then I'll choose this person. Evelyn's lips curl into a triumphant smirk. Vinia, on the other hand, looks dismayed. What's with him? Did someone upset him? Arlen turns to Vinia. Then you go to the kitchen and start a fire to prepare the young master's bathwater. Vinia bows her head. Yes, I understand. Wait, I don't know how to start a fire at all. She watches Allen's retreating back, her gaze suddenly hardening. Could it be? Vinia spins around abruptly. Wait. Evelyn puts her hands on her hips and demands, what are you doing? The young master chose me. You, hurry up and do your work. Vinia crouches down, looking directly into little Allen's eyes. Young master, does your chest hurt when you breathe? Does your throat feel uncomfortable when you sleep? Is it harder than usual to hold your sword? Little Allen looks shocked. How did you know? Arlen hurries over. Bella, what's wrong? Vinia stands up, her tone urgent. The young master is unwell. If he's not treated immediately, his life could be in danger. Arlen scolds angrily. What nonsense are you spouting? Vinia points to the nape of little Allen's neck. Look here. This kind of bruising often appears when there's a problem with the lungs. His complexion is terrible, and he's sweating nonstop. The cause must be from forcing himself to train while having difficulty breathing. Arlen looks panicked and runs off. I'll go get a doctor right away. Through the window, Lean's figure comes into view. He's talking with a doctor. How is Alan's condition? The doctor reports to Lean, just as the nanny said, it's a lung disease. Fortunately, it was discovered in time. Otherwise, if the bleeding hadn't stopped, the consequences would have been dire. I will prepare the medicine. Please make sure he takes it on time every day. Lean's expression is grave. He leans over and looks at his son, Alan, on the sickbed. Why didn't you say you were feeling unwell? Little Alan pulls up the blanket, his voice weak. I was afraid. Afraid that you would be disappointed, Father. Lean's brow furrows. Disappointed? What do you mean by that? Little Alan looks at his father timidly. Father, you get injured on the battlefield too, don't you? If it's something Father can do, I can definitely do it too. Lean's tone is gentle. But Alan, you're not an adult yet, and this isn't a battlefield. From now on, you are not to hide your physical condition. Okay, Father. Lean stands up. All right. I have other matters to attend to, so I'm leaving. Little Alan replies softly, Yes, Father. You should rest too. Don't get hurt. He watches his father's retreating back, his eyes dimming. He wishes his father could stay with him a little longer. Lean turns to face Vinia. You are the one who discovered Alan was hurt? Vinia looks up abruptly. Yes, master. Lean says approvingly. Well done. But how did you notice something that even the butler missed? Have you studied medicine? Vinia places a hand on her chest and answers humbly. When I was young, my little brother loved martial arts and was often injured. After taking care of him for a long time, I naturally learned a few things. That kid was really into Taekwondo. Lean's gaze falls on Vinia. Your experience taking care of your brother saved Alan. Please continue to look after him well. Vinia replies respectfully, I understand, master. Lean turns and leaves. Vinia and Evelyn remain where they are. Vinia lets out a long sigh of relief. Finally, Evelyn stands behind her. Her expression is grim. That woman named Bella. She will interfere with my plans. I must take action. Vinia writes furiously under the lamplight. I've finally found a job at the Grand Duke's residence. But on second thought, it's not safe here at all. The Emperor will soon start putting pressure on Lean. Now that I'm in the Grand Duke's residence, I must protect Lean. On the surface, the Emperor looks like a hedonistic, incompetent ruler. But in reality, it's all a calculation. He is a thoroughly cunning snake. What should I do to protect Lean from the tyrant's harm? Lean is destined to die at the hands of an assassin sent by the Emperor, and I have no power to fight an assassin. Should I tell Lean to never defy the Emperor? That he just needs to be obedient? No, that's impossible. Lean is righteous and honest by nature. Seeing what the Emperor is doing, he would never stand idly by. Vinia writes down a plan on the paper. Change the original story. 1. Stop the Emperor. 2. Leave this place. If I choose to, should I hold on here for a while and then escape? But I've already experienced how dangerous the outside world is. It's the same no matter where I go. She writes a third option. 3. Gain Lean's trust and use the information I know to help him. That's right. Staying by Lean's side is the way to survive. Vinia clenches her fist. All right. First, I need to find a way to win Lean's trust and become his reliable aide. To do that, I must first win the heart of his son, Alan. Alan is a kind and upright child. Even when he had to drink bitter medicine while his body hadn't fully recovered, he never once complained. After Alan became dependent on me, the butler, Arlen, appointed me as his exclusive nanny. Alan also made a full recovery. We attended classes together, got scolded together when we dozed off, and took walks together. Except for rest time, we were almost inseparable. And I also discovered that Lean cares more about Alan than I thought. He's just not good at expressing it. As I gradually came to understand what Lean and Alan meant to each other, this Grand Duke's residence, which I chose for my survival, began to feel like home. Vinia enters the room carrying a tray of snacks. Young master, look, Tajda, checkerboard cookies made especially for you. Little Alan looks at the cookies. But it's almost time for dinner. We can't have snacks before a meal. Vinia smiles and picks up a cookie. Oh, it's still a long time until dinner. A little bit is fine. She holds the cookie towards little Alan. I'll keep it a secret from the master for you. Here, open your mouth. A hand suddenly reaches out and snatches the cookie. Arlen looks sternly at Bella. Bella, don't you know the young master's snack regulations? These cookies are confiscated. Arlen pops the cookie into his mouth and savors it. Tastes good. Vinia puts her hands on her hips. You just wanted to eat them yourself, didn't you? Little Alan covers his mouth and giggles. Vinia, if you keep this up, Butler Arlen will scold you. Evelyn's face twists in the shadows, her eyes sharp and menacing. A few days later, the Winthrop Grand Duke's residence. Lean sits on the sofa in his study, reading quietly. A knock comes from the door. Vinia pushes the door open. Master, I have something to report to you. It's about the young master. Lean lightly taps his temple. Alan's birthday party. Vinia straightens her back. Yes, I would like to hold a birthday party for the young master. Lean's gaze lowers. When we were at the border, we were never able to celebrate his birthday properly. Go on, what's your plan? Vinia begins to outline the plan for the party. You and all the servants will prepare gifts for the young master. I will bake a beautiful cake with the freshest ingredients. As for the party food, don't worry. I will prepare a feast that everyone will enjoy. Vinia confidently presents her plan. Leave it to me. Lean remains expressionless. Continue. Vinia adds, if we invite young masters and ladies of similar age to the young master, it can help him make new friends and gain social experience. A party should be lively. Let's just invite their parents too. Lean raises a hand to interrupt her. No. Vinia blurts out, what? Why not? Lean looks at her coldly. I am not obligated to explain my every decision to you. Vinia immediately bows and apologizes. I'm sorry, master. Damn it, I talk back without even thinking. This is a class-based society. Lean's voice softens. No, you probably just don't know that the political situation is unstable. Now is not a good time to invite outsiders. How could I forget the Emperor is definitely monitoring Lean? If we throw a party now, the Emperor will think he's plotting something. I was too immersed in my role as a nanny. You've just returned to the capital. It's really not a good time for a party. I just wanted the young master to enjoy his childhood. I didn't consider the political implications. A flicker of emotion crossed Lean's eyes. A happy childhood, huh? If he could celebrate with his friends, Alan would surely be very happy. Lean cleared his throat. He rested his finger on his chin. It's not entirely impossible. A small celebration, just among the members of the household, should be fine. Vinia's eyes lit up. That's wonderful. Just a party with family. Alan will be so happy. Lean's thoughts drifted. I'm on the battlefield all year round. I can only give him a simple celebration each year. I'll leave this year's birthday party to you. Vinia placed a hand on her chest and bowed deeply. Thank you for your trust. I will do my utmost to disappoint you. She turned to leave, but she was stopped by Lean. Wait. Vinia stopped at the door and turned back, puzzled. Do you have any other instructions? Lean looked a little unnatural. What gift should I prepare for Alan? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Vinia's heart skipped a beat. He's actually asking for my opinion. Is he starting to trust me? All right, I'll answer seriously. Vinia held up a finger. A child's heart is actually very simple. More than an expensive gift, a gift that lets him feel his father's love is enough. A trace of confusion flashed in Lean's eyes. Love? Vinia closed her eyes, her smile radiant. If it's something the master makes with his own hands, that would be even better. She turned, her steps light. Then, I'll take my leave. Lean stood alone in his spot. A gift filled with love. The magnificent imperial palace was bathed in sunlight. Snow covered the roofs. All was quiet. Edward stood before the emperor. Your Majesty, this is this month's tax revenue. I've checked the ledgers. Compared to last month, it has decreased by about 1/3. The emperor's face darkened. Why so little? Edwards explained. Famine and natural disasters have left the people destitute. Their income has plummeted and victims are displaced. Perhaps your Majesty could consider reducing taxes. The emperor cut him off contemptuously. A bunch of useless trash. Don't bother with them. Make the lords pay more. They have plenty of land. They can always scrape up the money. Edwards looked up sharply, his pupils contracting. Your Majesty, that is absolutely out of the question. They already pay their annual tribute. Their incomes have also been greatly affected by the famine and drought. Forcibly imposing heavy taxes at this time will surely cause a severe backlash. The emperor sneered. Huh, their fiefs were all granted by me. Tell them, if they have complaints, they can return their lands. If you're worried about a backlash, collect it in the name of a disaster relief fund. Edwards lowered his head, placing a hand on his chest. As you command, your Majesty. The emperor's tone suddenly changed. Oh, right. Didn't I just grant a fief to Lean recently? He's a lord now, too. Edward's eyes sharpened. Are you thinking of making an example of him? The emperor smiled with satisfaction. You catch on quickly. That's what I appreciate most about you. Edwards bowed respectfully. Understood. I will handle it properly. Please trust me. Then, I will take my leave. The emperor watched his departing figure, leaned back on his throne, and laughed out loud. I really didn't choose the wrong dog. Bella was in the kitchen, kneading dough and humming an off-key song. A maid hurried over. Bella, the butler is looking for you. He said he wants to discuss the birthday party. Bella stopped what she was doing. All right. I'll go right away. After Bella left, a figure appeared quietly. Strange. I remember he said there was nothing for me to do. She quickly cheered up. I should finish the cake first. Lean hates sweets, so I'll make a sweet and sour lemon cake. This is a good chance to make a good impression. Bella picked up a lemon and squeezed out the juice forcefully. It was Vinia who pushed open the door. Tajda, she announced with a laugh, the main character has arrived. Vinia covered Alan's eyes with her hands and led him into the room. Happy birthday, young Master Alan. She uncovered his eyes. Alan's purple eyes widened suddenly. The room was decorated magnificently, with gifts piled up like a mountain. The table was filled with exquisite desserts, and the air was filled with a sweet fragrance. Alan's cheeks flushed, and he clenched his fists in excitement. Wow, is all this for me? He looked at everything before him, his eyes shining with a light he'd never had before. It's so beautiful. I've never seen such a beautiful scene in my life. Vinia smiled and explained, it was the master who instructed us to prepare the best birthday party for you. The master said he has never been able to celebrate your birthday properly, so this year must be done well. Alan turned to Lean, his eyes full of gratitude. Thank you, Father. Lean was a little at a loss. I didn't expect Alan to be this happy. Vinia looked at Lean's profile. The fatherly love he showed was a little different from what was described in the story. Alan suddenly rushed forward. He hugged Lean's waist tightly. Thank you, Father. I'm really so happy. A gentle ripple appeared in Lean's purple eyes. I'm happy too. He reached out and gently stroked Alan's head. Vinia watched this heartwarming scene, a warm current flowing through her heart. This place finally feels like a home. Before, it was just like a military barracks. Suddenly, a flustered Owen burst in. Your Grace, please come out for a moment. There's an uninvited guest. A lazy voice came from the doorway. Uninvited guest? That's a bit hurtful. Edwards, with a smile on his face, walked in slowly. Since when did I become an uninvited guest at the Duke's residence? Vinia's face instantly turned pale. Why is he here? It'll be terrible if he recognizes me. She subconsciously covered her face and desperately tried to hide. Please don't recognize me. Edward's gaze swept across the room, landing on the mountain of gifts and food. Oh, so it's your son's birthday. He stroked his chin, his smile deepening. Since I'm here, I can't leave empty-handed. He suddenly drew the sword from his waist. Lean immediately pulled Alan behind him. Owen also drew his sword at once. What are you doing? The atmosphere instantly froze. This is a treasure passed down in my family for generations. I won in a duel with my brother when I was young. It's for you. A hint of surprise flashed in Alan's purple eyes. Lean looked at him gently. Take it. Alan took the dagger and whispered, thank you. Edward's hand rested gently on Alan's head. I hope you become strong and protect everything you want to, just like how I got this dagger. Lean ordered the butler, take Alan inside. The butler bowed. Yes, sir. Vinia took Alan's hand and left. Edwards watched Vinia's departing figure, a hint of confusion in his eyes. I feel like I've seen that person somewhere before. Lean's expression was cold. What wind blew you here? Edwards was all smiles. What else could it be? My duty is obvious. I am here to convey His Majesty's decree. The two sat down on the sofa. Their teacups clinked lightly. A flash of understanding crossed Lean's purple eyes. So, His Majesty plans to levy additional relief funds from the nobles. Edwards nodded. That's right. If Your Grace the Grand Duke could be generous and lead by example, I'm sure the other nobles will follow suit. Lean's gaze was calm. If it's to help the disaster victims, I will naturally donate. You don't need to worry. Edward stood up. Since Your Grace is so cooperative, let's end our conversation here. So, which region will this relief fund be sent to? Edward's smile was meaningful. Don't be hasty, Grand Duke. I guarantee the money will be sent to where it's most needed. Edwards waved his hand dashingly. You're right. I was overthinking it. Farewell. Owen watched Edward's figure disappear. He's finally gone. Do you really believe His Majesty would suddenly have a change of heart and help the disaster victims? I don't believe it. Lean's gaze sharpened. I don't believe it either. That's why I tested him just now. It seems His Majesty has no intention of sending the money to any disaster area. Owen's expression grew grim. That's right. Edward's attitude said it all. He knew nothing about the details. He couldn't even be bothered to hide his corruption. Lean handed over a secret letter. Find a suitable person now and leak this information to the public. Owen took the secret letter. Yes, Your Grace. The butler stepped forward. Master, should we end the birthday party? A smile touched the corner of Lean's mouth. No, go bring Alan out. The party has just begun. Lean spoke gently, all right. Open the gift I prepared for you. Wow, it's a wooden doll. Alan picked up the small doll. The doll was wearing the same clothes as him, with the same black hair and purple eyes. Is this me? Alan's eyes lit up instantly. He pointed at himself in surprise, then at the doll. Lean cleared his throat, hiding a trace of awkwardness. That's right, it's you. I haven't done any crafts in a long time, so I'm a bit rusty. If you don't like it, I'll prepare something else. Alan shot up from his chair, leaning forward with his hands on the table. This is enough. Father, this is the best gift I've ever received. Alan hugged the wooden doll tightly, his face beaming with pure happiness. I will treasure it until the end of my life. Thank you. A flicker of emotion crossed Lean's purple eyes. So that's how it is. Vinia clapped her hands. All right, it's time for cake. The star of the day makes a wish, blows out the candles, and then we'll cut the cake. Vinia brought the cake with candles on it to Alan. Make a wish, young Master Alan. Alan looked at the beautiful cake. Wow, it's so pretty. He clasped his hands together and closed his eyes. My wishes, please let me be with Father forever. Alan blew out all the candles with a puff. Vinia watched this scene and looked towards Lean. He clearly loves his son so much. Why is he usually so strict with him? All right, let's eat cake. She handed a cut slice of cake to Lean. Master, please have a taste. I heard she often makes healthy desserts for Alan. It does look delicious. I'll have a taste then. Lean forked a small piece of cake and slowly brought it to his mouth. Evelyn suddenly rushed forward. Master, no, you absolutely cannot eat that cake. Bella put lye in the batter. If you eat it, everything from your mouth to your esophagus will be burned. Lean's movement stopped midair. He looked at Vinia quietly. Do you have proof? Evelyn didn't back down. I work in the kitchen every day, so I saw everything. Then why didn't you stop me? A hint of confusion crossed Vinia's face. By that logic, aren't you an accomplice too? Evelyn hurriedly defended herself. I didn't know at the time, but later, when I was using your leftover batter to cook, something fell off. The batter should have been soft, but it was hot and sticky. I checked and found it was lye. What nonsense are you suddenly spouting? Vinia forked a piece of cake and elegantly put it in her mouth. You just want to stop everyone from eating so you can have it all to yourself, right? Evelyn was furious. Why would I eat that? Are you crazy? That's right. If you had really put lye in it, you definitely wouldn't eat this cake, would you? Why would I deliberately eat the cake and then be perfectly fine like this? It's because I noticed something was wrong with the cake beforehand and was waiting for the culprit to show themselves. The cake I just ate was a new one. If I hadn't added lemon juice when making the cake, I really wouldn't have discovered the lye inside. Lemon juice is acidic. When it comes into contact with an alkaline substance, it creates bubbles. Unlike usual, the batter suddenly started bubbling. This is strange. I immediately told the butler that someone had put a suspicious substance in the batter. So, we secretly searched all the servants' rooms. And in your room, we found a bag of lye used for the crime. As you know, lye is never used for laundry or cleaning work in the Duke's residence. The evidence is conclusive. Do you still deny it? The butler looked at Evelyn. Evelyn, do you have anything else to say? Evelyn collapsed to the floor. Lean's voice was as cold as frost. Say it. Who ordered you to harm me and Alan? Evelyn clasped her hands and knelt on the ground. Master, I really didn't mean to kill anyone. Didn't I stop you before you ate the cake? Bella is just another nanny, but you only pay attention to her. I was jealous for a moment. I just wanted to get her into trouble. Lean's expression didn't waver in the slightest. Even so, the fact that you nearly committed murder does not change. Evelyn kowtowed in a panic. Murder? Baking bread with lye won't necessarily kill someone. It's not all my fault. Please forgive me. Today is Alan's birthday. I don't want to ruin the mood. You will withdraw for now and await your punishment. He turned to the butler, Arlen. I'll leave her to you. Seeing her careless state, she probably wasn't acting under someone's orders. The butler bowed slightly. Yes, master. Please rest assured. I will reprimand her properly and then demote her. The butler ordered Evelyn, follow me. Evelyn lowered her head. Yes. The butler led Evelyn away. Vinia leaned close to her and questioned in a low voice, was there really no one who ordered you to do this? Evelyn looked up sharply. Anger burned in her eyes. Vinia's tone was calm, yet sharp. Instead of being jealous, you should have cared more about the young master. I'm sorry for taking your position as head nanny, but how dare you tamper with the cake meant for Alan? Lean seems to want to let this go, but I have a bad feeling. Premonition. Evelyn snorted indignantly and turned to leave. Lean walked over to Alan and said softly, Alan, I'm sorry you had to go through this on your birthday. Alan looked up, his eyes shining. No, father. I had a really fun time today. This was the best birthday party ever. Tenderness welled up in Lean's eyes. Is that so? Thank you. I'll throw an even grander one for you next year. It's late. Go to sleep now. Anna nodded obediently. Okay, father. Good night to you too. Just as Vinia was about to take Alan away, Lean stopped her. Wait. Vinia turned. Master, you called for me? Lean's gaze was a little hesitant. Alan seems to really like the doll I gave him. Vinia smiled and replied, of course he likes it. Even I can see that it's filled with your love for the young master. Lean's expression was a little unnatural. Good job. Good job. He's saying thank you, isn't he? How shy. Vinia smiled and waved her hand. It's nothing. Then I'll go take care of the young master. She took Alan's small hand and turned to leave. Lean watched their backs as they left. Since Alan seems to like Bella very much, it's better to handle this matter quietly. If I make a big deal out of it, the servant's jealousy towards Bella will only deepen. You said Lean asked about where the collected funds are going? Yes. It didn't sound like a casual question. The Emperor was crouching by a pond, with Edwards standing behind him. A school of fish gathered in front of him. The Emperor spoke. Edwards, do you know why the fish gather before me? Edwards replied, isn't it because your majesty is feeding them? The Emperor turned his head. Is that so? What about now? He extended his hand, making a fake feeding motion. The fish still swarmed frantically. Edwards watched this scene. Even if you don't feed them, but they still rush towards you. The Emperor stood up. That's right. Even if I only pretend to show goodwill, they will swarm in, expecting benefits. So foolish that they don't even realize nothing has entered their mouths. Edwards bowed deeply. I understand your meaning, your majesty. I will find someone who will blindly help your majesty for their own benefit. A pawn that we can use and discard at any time. The Emperor smiled with satisfaction. As expected, you understand with just a hint. Much better than that pathetic brother of yours. Edwards lowered his eyes. Only your majesty truly appreciates me. The Emperor strolled along the garden path. Your father should have come to his senses by now, right? I heard your brother took another wife, the daughter of Marquis Soren. Edwards followed behind him. Yes, Marquis Soren's territory is quite vast, and the harvests have always been good. It seems the father and son finally used their brains this time. The Emperor stopped. This is something you can learn from. You're not young anymore. It's time to start a family. Edwards immediately declared, Your Majesty is my first priority. To me, no one is more important than you. The Emperor chuckled. Edwards, you're still so naive. Do you really think your brother marries so many women because he loves them? A family's marriage is a marriage of power. If you truly had my interests at heart, you would bring me a woman who can be of use. Today, Count Kyle's sister entered the palace with her brother. The Emperor pointed to a lady in the pavilion. Go have a few words with her. Your Majesty, if Count Kyle's sister isn't to your taste, since she's here anyway, perhaps I should have some fun. Edwards immediately bowed. No, Your Majesty. I will go see her now. The Emperor ordered a maid behind him. Send them some tea and snacks. The maid lowered her head and complied. Yes, Your Majesty. And then stay there and report back on how long they are together. The Emperor watched Edwards back. As long as you hold the leash, the dog can never run away. A magnificent manner. Sunlight filled the courtyard. Owen reported to Lean, Your Grace, I have gathered intelligence. His Majesty is sending Count Kyle to the Vineyard region. That's the place where the major earthquake happened a month ago. Lean rested his chin in his hand. A month ago. The reconstruction work there should be almost complete. This is indeed suspicious. Count Kyle. Owen continued. Before you went to the border, wasn't he your close friend? Should we contact him and see if he's noticed anything unusual? Lean raised a hand to stop him. Without being certain whether Kyle is friend or foe, any rash move could ruin everything. For now, a knock on the door was heard. The butler opened the door. Master, Count Kyle has arrived with his son. Appeared out of thin air. The timing is too coincidental. Lean stood up. Owen, wait here. After I see the Count, I'll know what to do next. Owen lowered his head in response. Yes, sir. Count Kyle opened his arms, his laughter hearty. Long time no see. Lean, no, you're Grand Duke now. I should address you as Your Grace, shouldn't I? Lean shook his hand. No need to be so formal. This should be the first time we've met since I went to the border. Count Kyle nodded. That's right. Lean's gaze fell on the child beside him. Is this your son? Count Kyle proudly pulled the child forward. Yes. He's the apple of my eye. He patted his son's back. Zan, quick, greet the Grand Duke. The boy, Rain, turned his head away abruptly, looking displeased. Count Kyle hurriedly scolded. Rain. Lean spoke gently. It's all right. Arlen, please take Rain to meet Alan. The butler, Arlen, bowed and accepted the order. Yes, master. He turned to the boy. Young Master Rain, please follow me. I'll take you to see our young master. Vinia crouched down to straighten Alan's collar. Vinia held a milk pitcher. I'll pour you some milk later, okay? Okay. Oh my God, he's so cute. He's practically an angel. I want to hug him tight and kiss him. Vinia looked at Alan, her heart filled with happiness. The butler, Arlen, led Rain in. Pardon the intrusion, young master. This is young Master Rain, the second son of Count Kyle, a friend of the Grand Duke. I've heard that name before. Alan proactively extended his hand. Hello, I'm Alan. Rain snorted. He turned his head away. The butler, Arlen, cleared his throat. I need to attend to Count Kyle. I'll leave young Master Rain in your care. Vinia replied with a smile. Don't worry, I'll take good care of both young masters. In the original story, Count Kyle was one of the people who betrayed Lean and sided with the Emperor. Although he wasn't a major character, his visit must be related to the Emperor, but I don't know the specifics. Is there a way to eavesdrop on their conversation? Rain looked around with a disdainful sneer. TCH, what is this place? The Grand Duke's residence is nothing special. I was actually looking forward to it, but our Count's manor is much better than this. There isn't even a single decoration here, just a bunch of junk. He suddenly burst out laughing. Oofed. He picked up Alan's cup. Is a little chick still not weaned? How childish. Alan looked at him, stunned. That's my favorite cup. Rain flicked his hand, and the cup went flying. Alan cried out in alarm. Vinia, with quick eyes and hands, steadily caught the cup. Alan looked at her in pleasant surprise. Wow, Bella, you're amazing. Vinia smiled. My 20 years of childcare intuition tell me this kid is a top-tier troublemaker, completely impossible to communicate with. Rain picked up a book. It's about war again. What's the point of reading this? Rain casually tossed the book aside. Boring. Alan cried out in alarm. Vinia caught it with one hand. This is nothing. Rain narrowed his eyes. Oh, you caught it. You just don't want to clean up, right? If that's the case. He began to frantically throw things around. Books, toys, decorations. The room was a mess. But Vinia, like a thousand-armed goddess, caught every single item steadily, without a scratch. Are you not done yet? Rain grabbed a quill pen. Alan shouted loudly. Stop. Rain, don't bully Bella. Vinia caught the quill in her teeth. I've been dealing with two younger brothers since I was little. This is a piece of cake. The milk pitcher suddenly tipped over, drenching her head. She let out a muffled grunt. Vinia was soaked, speaking with difficulty. Young master, can you help me take this? Alan took the milk pitcher from Vinia's hands. Okay, leave it to me. Rain burst out laughing. Haha, look at you. That's hilarious. Vinia suppressed her anger. Calm down. It's just a cute little puppy. What I'm seeing is an animal, not a person. Alan stood in front of Vinia. Rain, you shouldn't pour milk on people. Bella, you should go change your clothes. Rain pouted disdainfully. TCH, making a fuss over servant. I'm being protected by a 6-year-old. Vinia forced a smile. Young master, I'm fine. I'll change quickly and bring some snacks. Please get along, okay? Alan nodded forcefully. Okay, if I keep my promise, Bella will be happy, right? Alan turned to Rain. Rain, do you want to read a book? I'm reading this one recently. Rain picked up a doll. What's this? So shabby. No, not that one. Alan rushed towards Rain. Don't touch that. Give it back to me right now. Rain held the doll up with a mischievous grin. Hee, just like you. Breaks with a single poke. Alan lunged and missed, losing his balance. Rain squeezed the doll. Should I really poke it? Alan screamed in terror. Oh, no. Rain threw the doll on the ground. The doll split in two. Alan stared blankly at the doll in his hands. It's broken. It's broken. Alan's eyes filled with tears, his voice trembling. Father made this for me with his own hands. You broke it. Rain looked mocking. What? Not made by a servant? Your father made it? He must be so bored to stay at home making this kind of doll. Alan retorted emotionally. No, he's not. He's always busy, but he still took the time to make this for my birthday. Rain laughed out loud. Ha! My father already told me. He's fallen out of favor with the Emperor and was transferred to a remote area. Now he's just keeping his head down like a dead rat. Alan roared, Don't you dare insult my father. He violently grabbed Rain's collar and pushed him to the ground. Lean sat on the sofa, with Count Kyle sitting opposite him. Count Kyle picked up his teacup. We grew up together. I know your personality well, but times have changed. If you want to stay alive, you'd better not defy His Majesty's will. Lean's eyes were cold. Are you here to lecture me? Count Kyle put down his teacup. Lecture? I'm just worried about you. Think about why His Majesty keeps bringing up that old prophecy about you being the savior. The more you're watched, the more careful you have to be. When I left here, you were as ambitious as I was. Lean lowered his eyes. I never thought you would degenerate into a coward who bows to imperial power. Count Kyle shot to his feet. What? Someone like you doesn't understand my struggles. You should think about your son, too. Do you want Alan to grow up without a father? Lean's gaze instantly sharpened. Vinia, listening outside the door, felt her heart tighten. They're arguing. What does he mean? Alan without a father. Is the Emperor already planning to kill Lean? Then is Kyle that noble? In the original novel, A noble collected money on behalf of the emperor, accumulating a huge fortune. When Lin discovered the emperor was the mastermind and tried to expose him, he completely lost the emperor's favor. But the story never specified which noble the emperor used. What if that person is Kyle? Is the plot where Lin is killed by the emperor about to start now? No, I have to stop it. But how? By what means? My relationship with Lin isn't close enough. I can't interfere at all. Suddenly, a scream was heard. Ah, it hurts. That's Rain's voice. What happened? I said I was going to change and get snacks. If I go back empty-handed now, everyone will find it strange. Vinia stopped in her tracks. I need to change my clothes quickly first. Lin and Count Kyle have already gone over. The children should be fine, right? She pushed the door open abruptly. Zen, are you okay? Rain was wailing in pain. Rain pointed at Alan, crying, Father. That child hit me. Count Kyle hugged his son, comforting Rain. Don't cry. Father is here. Rain sobbed, Father. Lin walked up to Alan. Alan, what happened here? Alan hugged the doll tightly. It was Rain. He threw my doll first. Lin looked at his son. Was he trying to protect the doll I gave him? Count Kyle looked disdainful. Just for a doll? If it's broken, it's broken. Was it necessary to fight? I'll have a servant buy you a better one. Alan clutched the doll, tears welling up in his eyes. This was a birthday gift from my father. He made it himself. You can't buy it anywhere. Count Kyle cleared his throat. Is that so? Then let's just forget it. Rain was wrong first, but it was also wrong for you to hit him. Let's just pretend this never happened. Alan's voice was as cold as ice. No. Count Kyle was stunned. What? Alan stared at him. Rain insulted my father, threw a milk can at Bella, and broke my things. He must apologize to my father, to Bella, and to me. Rain stomped his feet in anger. I was just telling the truth. What's wrong with that? Why should I apologize to a servant? Alan stood up sharply. Shut up. Don't you dare say that. Bella is not just some servant. She is someone I cherish. Vinia stood in the distance, listening to all of this. My heart skipped a beat. Wow, that's more heart-fluttering than any confession I've ever heard. Vinia walked over with a tray of snacks. Young Master Alan. Lin turned around. Where have you been all this time? Vinia bowed slightly. My apologies, Master. My clothes were soaked with milk, so I went to change. As for young Master Alan's breakfast, because young Master Rain threw the snacks away, I had to prepare them again. So I was delayed. Lin's gaze turned icy. Is that true? Rain trembled. This. Count Kyle grabbed his son's shoulder. Rain, why did you cause this kind of trouble? Hurry up and apologize to Alan. Rain lowered his head. Sorry. Count Kyle took Rain's hand. It's too awkward to stay here any longer. I'll take my leave now. Lin stopped him. Wait, what is it? Lin's eyes were cold. Count Kyle, it's best to be careful with your words in front of children. Count Kyle snorted coldly and left angrily with his son. Vinia hurried to Alan's side. Young Master, are you okay? Rain's face is hurt. Are you injured anywhere? Let me see. Quick, take off your clothes. Alan shook his head. I'm fine. Rain didn't hit me. Vinia sighed in relief. That's good. Well done. If this national treasure of a face got scratched, it would be a loss for the country. Lin cleared his throat from the side. Vinia looked at Lin, bewildered. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Lin looked at Alan. Alan, no matter the reason, hitting someone is wrong. Alan lowered his head. Yes, Father. If he hadn't hit him, Rain would have destroyed those things. Even if the other person was wrong first, it's still wrong to solve problems with violence. Father taught me to think before I act. I shouldn't have hit Rain on impulse. It was my fault. Is this the vocabulary of a 6-year-old? I still can't get used to it. Lin's expression softened. As long as you recognize your mistake, that's enough. Copy the military code 10 times. Give it to me after dinner. Alan immediately looked up, his eyes bright. Yes, Father. I will hand it in on time. Copying it 10 times? That's so much. Vinia whispered into Alan's ear. Don't worry. I'll help you. Lin's voice rang out. Bella. Vinia jumped in surprise. Yes. Lin turned and walked towards the door. Come out for a moment. Vinia followed behind him. Yes, Master. Did he hear me? Vinia followed behind, her heart pounding. Why isn't he saying anything? This is so nerve-wracking. Lin suddenly turned around. Vinia couldn't stop in time and bumped right into his chest. She clutched her forehead, squinting one eye in pain. If you suddenly turn around like that, I am doomed. Look at his expression. He definitely heard me. Vinia hurriedly explained. I'm sorry. I won't help the young master with his homework. Lin looked confused. Vinia felt a slight breeze. I should close the window. Lin looked at her. The timing is perfect. All right. Vinia watched Lin's departing back. All right. What does that mean? Is he telling me not to close the window? Lin sat down on the sofa. When I'm not here, I hope you can stay with Alan. Vinia was puzzled. What do you mean by that, sir? Perhaps I'm too strict with Alan. He's had a strong sense of responsibility since he was young and is used to shouldering everything alone. But Alan is a bit different with you. It's as if he's treating a deeply trusted friend. Vinia was slightly taken aback. This man is more perceptive than I thought. She smiled and nodded. Yes, master. I understand what you mean. By the way, master, where are you going? When will you be back? Lean closed his eyes. This is official business. Don't ask what you shouldn't. My head starts to hurt again just thinking about my brother. Vinia asked tentatively, Master, you're not planning to leave without telling young Master Allen, are you? He might not show it, but if you suddenly disappear, he'll be very worried and sad inside. Even if you can't tell me, you must tell young Master Allen. That way, I can just ask Allen directly. Lean sighed. I'm going to Vineyard for a few days. It's the disaster area where a major earthquake occurred a month ago. The disaster area? My guess was right. He's probably going to confirm if the relief funds are safely delivered to the victims. Vinia pressed on. Is there something you need to do so far away? Lean stood up. That's enough. I should go. Vinia bowed. I'm sorry. Please forgive my impertinence. He turned and walked away quickly. I can't let Lean repeat the same mistake. I must review the plot of the original story. The emperor raised donations in the name of disaster relief, but he hired thieves to stage a robbery and embezzled the huge sum of money. Then he deliberately let the investigation go nowhere. Lean exposed the truth, revealing the emperor's crimes in front of all the ministers. The enraged emperor completely isolated him, exiled him to the frontier, and sent assassins to kill him. Vinia grabbed her head in frustration. This is infuriating. Why did I write it like that back then? Wait, I think I have a good idea. Lean walked down the palace corridor. Has Owen replied? Owen followed behind him. Yes, your highness. Lord Colin of Vineyard has given a specific date. He said he will meet you at Count Kyle's manor in a week, and then you'll transport the relief funds together. Lean stopped in his tracks. Then I must go to the palace immediately. Has all the money to be presented to His Majesty been checked? Owen nodded. Yes, it has been checked and is stored safely in the warehouse. Suddenly, panic shouts came from outside the window. Fire! The warehouse is on fire. Lean whipped his head around to look out the window. The burning warehouse came into view. What? How could it suddenly catch fire? Lean rushed out of the palace. The scene before him was chaotic. Servants ran with buckets of water, trying to extinguish the large fire in the warehouse. Arlen, is anyone injured? The butler shook his head. No, fortunately, the fire is mostly under control. Lean ordered, good. Extinguish it completely, then inspect the inside. Owen acknowledged the order. Yes. Lean walked into the smoke-filled warehouse. The interior was mostly intact. The relief funds were also safe, but something fell off. His gaze was drawn to a piece of white paper on a box. Lean picked up the note. This handwriting, I feel like I've seen it somewhere. Owen stood before Lean's desk, reporting, Your Highness, the investigation shows that the fire started in the pile of hay at the warehouse entrance. The fire spread to the wooden door and then grew rapidly. The warehouse guards and the people who frequent it are not suspicious. Lean rested his chin on his hand. What exactly did the guards say? Owen recalled, they said Bella went to the warehouse that day. But other than insisting they eat a piece of a very ugly-looking cookie, there was no other suspicious behavior. They said the cookie didn't look edible. Lean's eyes sharpened. So Bella went to the warehouse. I thought that handwriting looked familiar at the time. It's Bella's. Lean pressed. How long after Bella left did the warehouse catch fire? About 15 minutes later. When the fire started, Bella also ran to help put it out. Lean clenched the note. Did she set the fire on purpose because she couldn't get in? The fire started 15 minutes after she left. It's not hard to deduce what happened. Bella made obviously inedible cookies. She added flammable substances to them and tried to give them to the guards. As expected, the guards refused her because of the strange appearance and smell. So she left the cookies for them to eat later. Then she hid nearby, threw an ember onto the cookies to ignite the warehouse, and then pretended to help put out the fire, using the chaos to place the note in a conspicuous spot. A slight smile played on Lean's lips. Owen looked at him, puzzled. Your Highness, why do you have that expression? Lean cleared his throat. It's nothing. How's the background check on Bella going? Anything suspicious? Owen replied, No. I went to the place she lived, met her relatives and neighbors. Most of the information matches what she said. But strangely, her husband and child have left the village. We're still investigating their whereabouts. Lean closed his eyes. I know she should be punished for arson, but after reading the note's content, I can't just blame her like this. The handwriting on the note was clear, anonymous tip. The relief funds will be completely stolen by bandits hired by the emperor. Lean fell into deep thought. How did Bella know the nobles were raising relief funds? Even if she happened to hear about it, it's impossible for her to know my brother's plan. Could it be that she knew I was investigating this and set the fire to give me the information? I must see Bella first and talk to her. Lean looked up. Where is Bella now? Owen replied, she's probably watching young Master Alan train right now. Should I call her over? Lean stood up. No need. I'll go myself. I'll check on Alan while I'm at it. Owen watched his back. Does His Highness suspect Bella? If so, he should have ordered her arrest immediately. Why go there himself? It's too strange. On the training ground, Alan was swinging a wooden sword. Block my sword. Good, a little more force. Vinia stood to the side with tea and snacks. Suddenly, her nose tickled. Achoo! She rubbed her nose. It's still summer. Why do I suddenly feel a bit cold? Is someone talking about me? Vinia felt a shadow fall over her. A shadow? She slowly turned her head. Who's behind me? Vinia turned in shock. Master. Lean held up the note, his gaze sharp. You wrote this, didn't you? Vinia feigned composure. What are you talking about? How does he know? Did he recognize my handwriting? Right. I helped Alan copy the military code a few days ago. If I get the paper wet, the writing will blur. Then I can deny it. Vinia forced a smile and picked up the teapot. Master, the weather is hot. Have some water. Leon spoke calmly. I'm fine. Vinia's foot slipped. Her body lost balance. The tea and snacks scattered on the ground. She fell forward into Lean's arms. Vinia, still shaken, pressed her hand against Lean's chest. Master, I'm sorry. I was just trying to spill water on the paper. What's happening? She looked up and met Lean's gaze. Lean's palm rested on her forehead. Vinia looked confused. Why is he touching my forehead? Lean looked at her. Hey, how long do you plan on lying on me? Vinia scrambled to get up. Oh, I'm sorry. Vinia quickly took out a clean handkerchief. I'm sorry. I lost my footing for a moment. She carefully wiped him down. Lean stared at her. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Vinia shook her head frantically. No, I didn't. I'm going to the palace this afternoon. I'll question you when I get back tonight. Think carefully about how you're going to answer. He turned and left. Vinia sighed in relief. Good. He doesn't seem as angry as I imagined. Lean stood alone in the garden, his hand on his chest. Lean stood before the magnificent palace. He reported to the emperor, Your Majesty, these are the relief supplies and funds for the Vineyard region. Please inspect them. The emperor, sitting on his throne, gestured for Edwards beside him to check. Edwards accepted the order. As you command. He opened the lid of a chest. Your Majesty, the Duke is very sincere this time. Lean bowed slightly. I have only fulfilled my duty as a loyal subject. Edwards placed a hand on his chest. Lean, like me, cares for the people. The Emperor smiled. By the way, why did you bring the relief supplies yourself? Wouldn't it be fine to have the army transport them directly? Lean's expression was grave. Your Majesty, I cannot. A few days ago, I received intelligence that a rebellion has broken out in the northwest region. I have already dispatched a portion of my private soldiers to suppress it. I now have insufficient forces by my side, which is why I am unable to undertake the task of transporting the relief supplies. The Emperor's face changed abruptly. What? How am I hearing this for the first time? You dare to mobilize troops without reporting to me? Lean lowered his head and explained, I believe Your Majesty had already received the report. It's just that because the scale was small, you didn't pay it much mind. So I thought you had tacitly approved my actions. The Emperor's anger subsided slightly. I see. I have indeed been too busy lately. Since you're short on manpower, then I will entrust the task of transporting the supplies. To Kyle. Lean bowed again. As you command. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave. Just as Lean was about to leave, Edwards called out to him, Your Grace. Lean turned to the side. What is it? Edwards walked closer. You are unable to take charge of transporting the relief supplies, yet you don't seem disappointed at all. A slight smile touched Lean's lips. Why should I be disappointed? The last time I visited your residence, you asked me where all that money went. I sensed it then. Edwards leaned close to his ear. You're quite certain that the money will not all arrive safely in the disaster area. Lean's eyes sharpened. I only asked out of curiosity. Please do not portray me as a disloyal subject. He turned to leave. Excuse me. Edwards watched him go. He definitely knows His Majesty's true intentions. I was the one who instigated the rebellion in the Northwest. I forced Lean to deploy all his troops, making him unable to interfere with the fund transport. This part of the plan was a success. But why is he so calm? I can't understand it. Edwards looked out the window. It seems it's time to activate the spy I planted. Night fell. The Duke's residence was brightly lit. Vinia paced anxiously at the door. What should I do? What should I do? I shouldn't have helped Alan write his self-criticism. She held her head in her hands, full of regret. Grand Duke, you're back. Vinia took a deep breath, her gaze becoming determined. There's no escaping it. Since I've been caught, I'll just admit what I have to and make excuses for the rest. Lean's footsteps stopped in the night. He stared at Vinia. Have you thought it over? Vinia bowed deeply. Yes, Your Grace. I will be completely honest with you. Very well. Lean turned. Then let's talk in the study. Yes. Inside the study, Vinia stood before Lean's desk. Master, setting fire to the warehouse and leaving the note were all my doing. Please punish me. Lean sat in his chair, leaning forward. You admitted it quickly, realizing you couldn't fool me. You're smarter than I thought. So what was your purpose? The shock? Vinia looked up. I wanted to use this method. To more effectively brand the information into your mind than by simply telling you with words. Lean's eyes were sharp. A mere nanny. How could you know my plans? Vinia explained, I have a friend with very broad sources of information. As soon as I heard the news, I felt I had to tell you. But as you said, I was worried you wouldn't believe the words of a nanny. So I had to use another method. I did this because if you argue with His Majesty, the relief funds won't be delivered safely. They will be stolen along the way. Lean turned his face away. But what can be done? In fact, I'm on His Majesty's side. Vinia's pupils dilated instantly. Master, do you really think so? I know how much you cherish and care for your people and those around you. I want to help you because I like that about you, Master. Lean froze. What did she just say? Vinia suddenly came to her senses, her cheeks flushing red. Oh my God, what'd I just say? Vinia waved her hands in a fluster. That doesn't mean the kind between a man and a woman. No, I mean, you're a man and I'm a woman, but this. It's getting weirder the more you talk. Lean raised a hand to stop her. Enough. I understand what you mean. Others might think you don't care whether the relief funds are delivered safely. But I know that if you find out the truth afterward, you will be heartbroken. Then you will argue with His Majesty. Once you fall out of favor, the situation will take a sharp turn for the worse, even threatening your life. If that happens, young Master Allen. Lean's gaze was clear. Vinia lowered her eyes. If he loses his father, what if he becomes a monster of war to avenge you? Lean's heart was dealt a huge blow. Vinia looked up, her eyes pleading. Master, you must protect the relief funds. We can swap the chests of money with chests full of rocks. As long as we switch them before departure, they will have no reason to open and check them again. Lean was thoughtful. I happened to be thinking of something similar. Then let me ask one last thing. No evidence was found at the scene. It was as if the hay caught fire by itself. How did you do it? Vinia thought to herself. I was planning to save that for later. To think he found out. Well, I'll just tell him. This is a scientific fact I learned from a novel. When milk is boiled at high temperature, a substance called calcium phosphate precipitates at the bottom. Mixing this calcium phosphate powder, carbon powder, and quartz powder and heating them can produce phosphorus. Vinia looked awkwardly at the silent Lean. Please give me some reaction. Your silence is making me awkward. She continued to explain, phosphorus powder has a very low ignition point. On a hot summer day, you just need to sprinkle it on dry hay, and it will spontaneously combust upon contact with sunlight. It's a method to commit arson perfectly without being at the scene. After listening, Lean's expression was serious. This is more professional than I imagined. Even I have never heard of this method. Vinia sighed in relief. It seems you believe me. That's great, but there's one more thing I don't understand. Lean's gaze sharpened. A slight smile played on Lean's lips. Your file says you never learned to read. So how is it that you not only know how to read and write, but also understand such complex scientific knowledge? Vinia stiffened. Right, I forgot about that. Actually, I need to think of something quick. She closed her eyes and began to weave a story. Like all commoners, my family was poor, and I couldn't go to school. But I was very interested in science, so I secretly listened in on my younger brother's classes and accumulated some knowledge. I was afraid my parents would find out, so I always pretended to be illiterate. She raised a hand, pretending to wipe away non-existent tears. Perhaps the teacher found my efforts commendable and taught me all sorts of miscellaneous knowledge. After speaking, Vinia let out a soft breath. Lean was expressionless. I see. Vinia continued to add, actually, the method I used is already quite common in daily life. Street jugglers, performers, and clowns all use phosphorus powder to attract attention. You probably haven't seen it before because you've lived on the frontier for so long. Lean's thoughts were in turmoil. I can't tell which of her words are true and which are false. But ultimately, she means me no harm. Lean closed his eyes. I'll just assume what you said is true. Vinia looked displeased. What do you mean? Assume it's true? Lean announced, arson is a crime. Even if done with good intentions, it must be punished. You will reflect in your room for 3 days. During this time, I will find someone else to take care of Alan. Understood. Lean added, while you're reflecting, make that phosphorus powder you mentioned. Vinia's eyes lit up. Oh, are you worried I'll be bored? Don't misunderstand. I just think this stuff will be useful for the plan. Just do as I say. Owen will bring you the materials. Understood? Vinia immediately responded, yes, I understand. Lean waved his hand. I am tired. You may leave. Vinia turned and left. That's great. At least I wasn't kicked out. Oh, right. Vinia turned back, a professional smile on her face. Are there any other instructions? Lean cleared his throat. When you fell earlier today, you weren't hurt, were you? Vinia was stunned. What? Lean averted his gaze. It's nothing. Leave. Okay. Vinia turned, her footsteps fading away. Vinia was confused. What? When did I? A memory flashed back. Is he referring to that time? Could it be? Vinia suddenly realized and covered her mouth with her hands. He was afraid I would get hurt from the fall, so he deliberately caught me? Night enveloped the Duke's residence. Vinia sat on the edge of her bed, her stomach growling. I'm so hungry. It's the middle of the night. If I sneak into the kitchen for a bite, no one should find out, right? Owen is so stingy. He barely gave me anything to eat. Doesn't he know physical labor burns a lot of energy? She quietly slipped out of her room. The corridor was empty. The moonlight was so bright. Vinia looked out the window. A full moon hung high in the sky. She was suddenly startled. Isn't that Evelyn? Evelyn was furtively walking towards the main gate of the Duke's residence. She looked left and right, confirming no one was around. Come out. No one's here. A figure emerged from the shadows, a hood obscuring his face. I'm here, Evelyn demanded. Why the sudden meeting? The mysterious person didn't answer, simply handing over a heavy money pouch. The master told me to give this to you. Evelyn took the pouch. Oh, he's finally giving me a chance. With this, I can get rid of that eyesore, Bella. The mysterious person warned, the master wants you to behave and not act rashly. He's very unhappy that you meddled and got kicked out of your nanny position. You know the master's methods are ruthless. If the plan goes wrong, he'll order a kill at any time. A contemptuous smile appeared on Evelyn's face. I know what I'm doing. Just relay my message as I said. Tell him to prepare Lean's bounty as soon as possible. Vinia hid behind a tree. I can't hear anything clearly. Should I get closer? Just as she was about to move, a voice came from behind her. Bella, what are you doing here? Vinia jumped in fright. Who's there? Young Master Alan. Alan looked up at her. Aren't you supposed to be in confinement? Why are you here? Good thing I wasn't discovered. Eavesdropping is out of the question now. I have to get it back to his room quickly. Vinia put a finger to her lips. She'll follow me quietly. Okay. The two left quietly. Vinia knelt down. It's so late. Why are you out here? Where's the maid taking care of you? Alan replied, I want to go to the washroom. The maid was fast asleep, and I didn't want to wake her, so I came out by myself. I didn't expect to run into you, Bella. He suddenly threw himself into Vinia's arms, hugging her tightly. Bella, I missed you so much. We've only been apart for 2 days, and I'm already starting to miss you. Vinia gently stroked his head. I missed you too. Really? Alan's eyes instantly lit up. Of course. While I was in confinement, I kept thinking about you, wondering if you were eating well, if you were being scolded by the teacher, if you were happy. Vinia suddenly remembered something. Right, young Master Alan. There's a rule in the residence. A maid must always be with you. You can't run around by yourself anymore. What if a bad person kidnaps you? What would the Grand Duke and I do? Anna nodded seriously. I understand. I won't run around by myself again. Vinia smiled and held out her pinky finger. Then let's make what happened today our secret, okay? Alan also held out his pinky. Okay, I promise I won't tell anyone. Vinia's pinky hooked Alan's, and they made a pinky promise. Vinia gently caressed Alan's cheek. Then let's go back. Anna nodded vigorously. Vinia took Alan's hand, and the two walked through the moonlit courtyard towards the brightly lit residence. Vinia's gaze was grave. Although she didn't know what Evelyn was up to, she was sure she was up to no good. She had to find a way to get rid of her before she did something bad. The Kyle County estate was a bustling scene. Hector ordered loudly, "We're leaving for the Imperial Palace immediately. Everyone, get ready. Have you confirmed that nothing is missing?" Hector replied, "Just in case, I'll check again. While the Count attends the banquet, I will ensure everything is ready for his departure." The Count instructed, "Very good. Don't rush while moving the chests. Be careful. Be extra careful. I'm counting on you." Hector's palms were slightly sweaty. "Yes, I understand. A clear, feminine voice rang out. Brother, so you're here. A young lady in a purple dress slowly approached. Count Kyle's sister, Daisy Kyle. I've been looking all over for you. The Count smiled and waved. Daisy, come over here. Hector greeted her somewhat reservedly. Ah, Miss Daisy. Good day. Daisy's face was beaming. What are you doing hiding in such a remote corner? I've been looking for you. Did you forget we're going to the Imperial Palace today? The Count was unconcerned. Isn't there still some time before we leave? Daisy eagerly grabbed him. I have someone very important to see, so you have to help me pick a dress. The Count crossed his arms, looking at her with amusement. Who? His Majesty the Emperor? Daisy's cheeks flushed. You know who it is. You're just teasing me. She opened a sketchbook. Stop teasing. Hurry up. Should I wear the pink one or the pale yellow one? Help me decide quickly. The Count spread his hands helplessly. How I know about such things? What's the use if I like it? It has to be Edwards who likes it. Daisy pushed the Count. Stop teasing me. A deep voice suddenly interjected with a pink one. Daisy whipped her head around. What? Hector bowed slightly. Miss, pink suits you best. A blush instantly spread across Daisy's cheeks. See? Hector understands me best. I'll go try on the pink dress then. She lifted her skirt and ran off. The Count shouted after her, Daisy, I told you not to run. He turned to Hector. I'll leave the rest to you. Hector bowed his head and replied, yes. Have a safe trip. Hector looked up, a hint of gloom flashing in his eyes. A lady like her. Why does she have to be with Edwards? Night fell. A full moon hung high above the Imperial Palace. The Emperor raised his glass. Kyle, you've worked hard with the disaster relief this season. I've specially prepared this banquet to celebrate your success. Count Kyle stood up and bowed. I am unworthy, Your Majesty. This is merely a subject's duty. The Emperor smiled and waved his hand. Please sit. There's no need to be so formal between us. Edwards bowed his head. Your command, Your Majesty. The Emperor invited, sit down. Dine with us. You've given me many good ideas. You deserve some credit as well. Edwards closed his eyes. Understood. In that case, I will. The Emperor interrupted him. Sit next to Daisy. Kyle, you sit to my left. Edwards will sit next to Daisy. The Emperor closed his eyes with a matter-of-fact expression. This way, Edwards can take care of Miss Daisy. After all, a gentleman should take good care of a lady, shouldn't he? Edwards hesitated, wanting to speak, but stopping himself. The Emperor's gaze sharpened. Do you have an objection? Edwards immediately bowed his head. As you command. Only then did the Emperor show a satisfied smile. That's more like it. Edwards took a seat beside Daisy. The atmosphere became a bit tense. Daisy was the first to break the silence. Sir Edwards, it's been a long time. Edwards replied politely, yes, Miss Daisy. Daisy clasped her hands, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. I heard you're an excellent writer. I've always wanted to learn. Could you teach me? If Miss Daisy wishes to learn, I would be more than happy to teach you. Edwards raised his glass. However, according to our country's regulations, women learning horsemanship must be instructed by a female coach. As a man, I'm afraid it would be difficult for me to teach you personally. However, I can introduce you to a highly skilled female coach. Daisy's eyes dimmed. Thank you. Edwards added gently. However, if you're still afraid, you can come to me anytime. I will stay by your side. Daisy's face instantly lit up. Really? That's wonderful. Then I'll be in your care from now on. She raised her glass, her smile radiant. The Emperor took a sip of wine and said to Count Kyle beside him, your sister and Edwards are a good match. Count Kyle responded with a smile. This is all thanks to Your Majesty. The Emperor put down his glass, his gaze suddenly turning cold. By the way, how is that matter I instructed you to handle? Count Kyle's expression was calm. Everything is proceeding smoothly. You need not worry. The Emperor's lips curled up. Very good. With you and Edwards handling things for me, I am indeed at ease. In a military camp under the night sky, a bonfire burned fiercely. A soldier came forward to greet him. Welcome back, Captain Hector. The situation is trickier than expected. The soldiers are exhausted and need to be relieved. Hector ordered, you, come with me to the barracks. We'll pick some elites to bring back. Relieve the guard. The soldier immediately responded, understood. The butler has prepared hot food, saying it's cold and everyone has worked hard. The rest of you, go eat and warm up. Stand by on the spot. Hector nodded. You all heard. Make sure things are handled properly. Let's go together. Outside the camp, the bonfire crackled, illuminating the night sky. Inside the banquet hall, the fire in the hearth was warm and bright. The Emperor called out softly, Edwards. Edwards bowed and answered yes. Your Majesty? The Emperor raised his hand. It's getting late. You should escort Daisy home. I still have matters to discuss with Kyle. Edwards bowed his head. Yes. Daisy stood up and curtsied. Then I shall take my leave. Edwards pulled out the chair for her. Daisy smiled and said, "Thank you." He replied softly, "You're welcome." Inside the carriage, Daisy lightly covered her mouth. "Sir Edwards, how am I dressed today?" Edwards's gaze fell upon her. "It suits you very well." A blush appeared on Daisy's cheeks. "It was custom-made just to see you." Edwards smiled politely. "You flatter me." "Thank you." Daisy clasped her hands, looking at him with eyes full of expectation. "I've been wondering, Sir Edwards, do you believe in fated love?" "Fated love?" Edwards's eyes momentarily glazed over. The image of Vinia appeared in his mind. She was wearing a wide-brimmed hat, her green eyes gazing at him gently. "Can you at least tell me your name?" The voice echoed in his ears. He seemed to see those clear green eyes again. Edwards fell silent. Edwards's gaze was calm. "I don't believe in fated love." Daisy pressed. "Then what kind of love do you believe in?" Edwards's gaze lowered. "I have never thought about matters between men and women. My heart is only for serving His Majesty." Daisy's tone was a bit consoling. "But you'll have to get married and start a family someday. When that day comes, we've arrived." Her words were cut short. A hint of disappointment flashed across Daisy's face. The carriage came to a stop. The door opened. Edwards stepped out of the carriage. He turned and extended his hand. "Miss Daisy, please step down." Daisy placed her hand on his and said softly, "Thank you." A servant ran over in a panic. "Miss, something's happened. The kitchen is on fire." Edwards and Daisy were both shocked. "What?" The blaze lit up the night sky. People's shouts rose and fell. "Quick, get water. There aren't enough buckets." "Then use dirt to cover it." Daisy was terrified. "What on earth happened? Where did the fire start?" The butler ran over, his face full of worry. "It started in the kitchen. We've been drying hay and wood in there for the past few days, so the fire spread uncontrollably. It has now reached the main hall." Edwards asked calmly, "Only the kitchen and the main hall? Has it spread anywhere else?" The butler replied, "No, the other areas are fine. It's just that the fire grew suddenly, and it's dark, making it difficult to extinguish. Luckily, the fire hasn't reached the barracks." Edwards continued to press. "Has Count Kyle been notified?" The butler looked troubled. "We just sent someone to the Imperial Palace, but I don't know when a master will be back." Edwards's eyes sharpened. "The barracks where the chests are stored aren't on fire, so there's no need to alarm His Majesty. Count Kyle is drinking with His Majesty and cannot be disturbed. If His Majesty's mood is ruined over such a small matter, he will be furious." He gave an order, "Quick, call back the servant who went to find the Count. I will handle things here." The butler immediately complied. "Yes, I understand." In the bushes nearby, several people dressed as servants were crouching, observing the commotion in front of the fire. The leader gave a low command. "Now's the time. Move." They quickly got up, carrying several large wooden chests, and disappeared into the night-shrouded woods. The Kyle County estate was brightly lit. The Count rushed towards the estate gate. "Is there a fire? Why wasn't I notified?" "The butler sent someone, but you were drinking with His Majesty." Miss Daisy and Sir Edwards had the servant return. Count Kyle's face darkened. "Regardless, if the estate is on fire, I should have been notified immediately. The house is on fire, and they dare to hide it from me? Even if they were afraid of affecting His Majesty's mood, this is a great disrespect. Go back and thoroughly investigate the cause of the fire. Report to me immediately." A voice came from behind. "Count Kyle, I hope I'm not too late." An elderly man in lavish clothes approached, followed by 2 guards. "Long time no see. It's been almost 10 years, hasn't it? You haven't changed a bit." "Ha!" He was the lord of the Vineyard region, Phillips. "Count Colin." Count Kyle bowed slightly. "Long time no see, Count Colin. I heard you needed help, so I immediately volunteered to come. Since the Count has arrived, let's set off at once. Load the chests onto the carriage." "Yes, my lord." Count Kyle gestured. "Then, let's go." Foolish Count Colin. Coming to beg just for an earthquake a month ago. Once the bandits steal everything today, you'll have to pay for it out of your own pocket. As night deepened, the sky began to break. On a forest path, a convoy moved slowly. Phillips was all smiles. "I never expected His Majesty to be so concerned about the disaster victims, preparing such generous relief supplies. It's truly remarkable." Count Kyle feigned a cough. "Yes, I was surprised too. Is he unsuspecting because he's naive or just stupid? I've served 3 emperors in my life. The first 2 majesties genuinely love their people." Phillips's gaze became complex. "But the current His Majesty." Phillips closed his eyes and smiled with relief. "Fortunately, he has changed." The sound of hooves suddenly rang out, breaking the tranquility of the forest. "What's happening?" A guard galloped over, his expression panicked. "Bandits. There are about 20 of them, all armed. Everything is under control." He feigned panic and shouted, "What did you say?" Bandits. He turned to Phillips. I'll use one chest to lure them away. Count Colin, please take the remaining chests and escape quickly. Phillips looked aghast. Run? I can't do that. I must stay and protect the supplies. It's bad. The bandits are surrounding us from the front and back. The guards drew their swords on alert. Phillips drew his longsword. They've surrounded us on both sides. It seems I'll have to stretch my old bones today. Why is this old man drawing his sword? Cold sweat broke out on Count Kyle's forehead. He should look at his age. He'll only provoke the bandits. The bandit leader, carrying a giant axe, announced with a sneer, "Brothers, we're eating meat today." Count Kyle immediately pushed a chest forward. "This is what you want. Please spare our lives." The bandit leader took the chest. "Really? Let me see if it's enough." He opened the lid, and his movement froze instantly. The chest was filled with rocks. "What is this?" The bandit leader flew into a rage. "Damn it, there's nothing but rocks inside. What happened to a full chest? Are you messing with me? It's a trap. Kill them all." The bandits swarmed forward, swords clashing. The guards fell, screaming, "Help." Phillips parried with his sword, shouting urgently, "Count Kyle, protect the relief supplies. The people of Vineyard are waiting for you. The supplies must be delivered." Count Kyle spurred his horse to catch up with Count Colin. "Wait," he roared in disbelief. "Stop. Are you insane? This isn't real, right? You're just acting, right?" Blood splattered. One of Phillips's arms was severed. He fell to his knees in agony. Count Kyle's eyes were wide with horror. "No." He abruptly stepped on the stirrup. He dismounted, a sharp blade cutting through the air. Count Kyle swung his sword to block, shielding Phillips. Count Kyle grunted, blood splattering. He urgently helped Phillips up. "Are you all right?" Phillips's face was pale. "Don't mind me. Take the money and go quickly." Count Kyle gritted his teeth. "But why did they really attack? Did Edwards betray us?" "Attack. Capture them alive." Hearing the command, Count Kyle looked up abruptly. "Edwards? Is that Edwards?" The sound of horse hooves thundered as a cavalry unit charged onto the battlefield. "Who is that?" The knight leading them wore magnificent armor, with black hair and purple eyes and a stern face. It was Lean Winthrop. Lean's knights quickly subdued the remaining bandits. "Retreat." The bandits fled in panic, leaving a mess behind. Lean looked at the tragic scene. "I didn't expect the bandits I bribed would actually attack. Luckily, I was following Sir Colin from a distance. Are you all right?" "Owen, quickly take Sir Colin to a doctor." The knight accepted the order. "Yes, sir." Count Kyle looked up at Lean. "Why are you here?" Lean's gaze was calm and sharp. "His Majesty ordered me to be in charge of the supply transport. I was worried, so I came to support as soon as the rebellion was suppressed." "How did this happen?" Lean looked at the mess on the ground. "Were the defenses against the bandits too lax?" "No one can guarantee there's only one group of bandits. There are too many casualties. It's best to go to Vineyard for treatment. Do you want to go with my soldiers?" Count Kyle coldly refused. "No need." Lean's lips curved into a barely perceptible arc. "Then suit yourself." He mounted his horse and gave an order, "Escort the bandits back to the capital." "As you command, Your Highness." Lean led his troops away. Count Kyle collapsed amidst the pools of blood. He looked at his blood-soaked hands. "How on earth am I going to report this to His Majesty?" Hector stepped forward. "What are your plans now? Please give your orders." According to the original plan, we were supposed to return directly to the palace. Count Colin would return to Vineyard empty-handed, claiming the relief funds were stolen by bandits. The matter should have ended there. Edwards clearly said he would handle it. How did it get so messed up? He clearly said the bandits would only pretend to attack, but they ended up actually attacking and stealing the chests. Now there's no choice. We'll go to Vineyard ourselves to report the theft. In place of Count Colin, Count Kyle mounted his horse. "Let's move on." The convoy slowly entered Vineyard. The common people were sallow and emaciated, staring at them with hollow eyes. A man in an officer's uniform came to greet them. "Hello, I am Solid, Count Colin's second son." "Vineyard?" Count Kyle sized up the man's uniform. "Is it a local magistrate's uniform?" Solid gave a gentle smile. "Yes, to help the people of the disaster-stricken territory, I volunteered to serve as the captain of the peacekeepers for a few months." Count Kyle sneered. "What a strange man. Why would a nobleman lower himself like that? There are many injured here. Please call a doctor first. More importantly, I have something to report regarding the relief funds." Solid interrupted him. "Ah, are you referring to the relief funds that were sent over a short while ago?" Count Kyle was stunned. What did you just say?" Solid pointed to the chests behind him. "If you're referring to the relief funds, I've already received them safely. Would you like to confirm for yourself?" He bent down and opened a wooden chest. The lid creaked open. The gleam of gold coins instantly spilled out. A full chest, the real deal. "What's going on?" The relief funds were supposed to be stolen by bandits and then sent back to the imperial palace. Why are they here? Inside the imperial palace, the emperor stood before a wooden chest, his expression grim. The emperor roared, "Find out what exactly happened." "Yes, your majesty." The chest was filled with stones. Worthless stones. The Vineyard region regained stability with the arrival of the relief funds. The bandits who attacked Kyle and Colin's party were arrested and imprisoned. The emperor's plan had turned to dust. Seething with rage. On the surface, the emperor praised Lean's achievement in suppressing the bandits with great admiration. But the next day, the arrested bandits were immediately executed by hanging without a trial. And so, neither Kyle nor Lean, who came to question him, could find out why the entire plan had gone completely out of control. Sunlight shone on the magnificent estate. Vinia was busy in the kitchen. She skillfully separated the egg yolks from the whites. Evelyn pushed the door open, carrying a basket. "Bella, what are you doing?" Vinia didn't look up. "I'm making an after-class snack for young Master Allen." "What trick is she playing this time?" Evelyn walked over, a fawning smile on her face. "Bella, I'm sorry about the other day. Please don't hold it against me. Why are you telling me this?" Vinia looked up, her smile gentle yet distant. "What's important is to get the master's forgiveness. But your position in the house is second only to the butler's. Please put in a good word for me with the butler." Evelyn sighed. "I was originally hired as a nanny. I can't keep doing a maid's work forever. Besides, I'm getting old. For her to act like this all of a sudden, she must be plotting something. Very well. This time, I'll see what she's really up to." Vinia smiled faintly. "All right. I'll speak to the butler." Evelyn was overjoyed. "Thank you. No need." The tutor pointed to the blackboard. "There are 3 yellow cats and 2 white cats. When one cat escapes through the window, what is the probability that the escaped cat is a yellow cat?" Alan answered without hesitation, 60. The tutor nodded in praise. "Correct. Let's turn to the next page." Alan continued. "It could also be 0 or 100. Lean stopped outside the door. He frowned slightly. "What does he mean?" 0. Alan's voice came from inside the room. "It could also be 20 or 10. The tutor looked confused. "What are you talking about? Please explain." "Teacher, the door is locked. How do we know if a cat got out? Until we open the door and check, we have no way of knowing whether a cat got out or how many got out." The tutor looked incredulous. "That's absurd." Alan explained, "This was a thought experiment done a long time ago by a scientist named Schrödinger. Until you open the door and check, you can't be sure if the cat is still inside." "Where did you hear about such a thing?" Alan gave a bright smile. "Bella told me. Isn't it interesting?" Vinia walked over with the snacks. "Master, why are you standing outside instead of going in?" "What on earth are you teaching Alan?" Vinia curtsied slightly. I was just sharing some scientific knowledge with him in the form of a story." "Is something wrong?" Lean asked coolly, "What is Schrödinger's cat?" Vinia was at a loss for words. "That is, it tells us that before an uncertain matter is confirmed, one must never jump to conclusions. This is especially true for a leader who must be even more cautious in their words and actions." "I never said anything like that." Lean was thoughtful. "So that's what it means." His tone changed. "Right? You've worked hard this time. I'll give you a reward. Tell me, what do you want?" Vinia was stunned. "A reward?" Lean answered affirmatively. "That's right. You can have a bonus or a vacation, whatever you want." Vinia lowered her eyes. I hope you can live safely. But will saying it make it come true?" Vinia shook her head. "Master, I've never seriously thought about this. My wish isn't something that can be granted by others. If I think of something, can I tell you later?" Lean was expressionless. "You may." Vinia turned to leave. "Then I'll take my leave." Lean suddenly spoke up. "Wait, are there any other orders?" "I'll grant you one small wish right now." "Tell me." "A small wish that can be granted immediately." There's one, actually." Vinia's eyes lit up. She smiled happily. "I heard there's a place behind the ducal residence that's as beautiful as a fairy tale. I'd like to see it once." Lean looked at her. "I see. Then go and get ready." He turned and walked away, leaving her with a view of his back. Vinia looked astonished. Right now, sunlight shone on the ornate gate. Vinia had changed into a blue dress and was standing outside the gate. "He told me to come out, so I came out. It feels so unreal. I haven't been out in so long." Lean's voice sounded. "Have you been waiting long?" Vinia looked up. "No, not at all." Lean was leading a black horse. "Let's go." Vinia hesitated. "But there's only one horse." Lean turned his head. "Do you know how to ride?" Vinia shook her head. "No." Lean mounted the horse. "That's why I only prepared one." Lean extended his hand to her. "Come on up." Vinia's eyes widened. "Is he telling me to take his hand?" To get on the horse? Lean urged, don't dawdle. He grabbed Vinia by the waist. He easily lifted her onto the horse's back, placing her securely behind him. Lean's voice sounded by her ear, hold on tight. Go. Go where? The black horse galloped off, its hooves thundering. The black horse galloped through a sea of dandelions that covered the hills and fields. Vinia exclaimed in amazement, wow. It's so beautiful. So this is what a vacation feels like. Past memories flooded her mind. Everyone else is on vacation, and only I, the temp worker, am working my butt off. Is this fair? At least the pay should be good. That's right. I was really envious of people who could go on vacation. But now I can feel the wind, I can see the clouds. The world of the novel is so beautiful. Vinia spread her arms, closing her eyes to embrace the free wind. I wish time could stop right here. Lean glanced at her. She seems very happy. Suddenly, the horse's hoof missed its footing, and the horse's body lurched violently. Vinia let out a cry of alarm, her body losing its balance. Vinia wrapped her arms tightly around Lean's waist. He asked in a low voice, "Are you scared?" Vinia's body trembled slightly. My soul almost flew out of my body. I almost staged a tragic fall from horse. She forced a calm smile. Ha, this little thing is nothing. Vinia suddenly stiffened, her body pressing tightly against Lean's back. She realized what she had grabbed. Vinia hastily let go. I'm sorry, master. I didn't do it on purpose. Lean's voice was calm. It's all right. I forgive you. He cleared his throat. You can keep holding on. Vinia was a little confused. But I'm fine now. The sound of hooves rang out again. But don't. Vinia's face became troubled. She spoke cautiously. Can I hold on like before for a little while longer? Vinia wrapped her arms around Lean again. The corners of Lean's mouth lifted slightly. All right. The black horse stopped in the sea of flowers. Lean dismounted and announced, "We're here." He turned and extended his hand to help Vinia dismount. Vinia took his hand and thanked him softly. She stood in the middle of the flower sea, spreading her arms. It's truly so beautiful here. Vinia casually picked a dandelion. The dandelion seeds are like snow. So pretty. She turned to look at Lean. Doesn't it look like it's snowing? Lean gazed at her. Yes. It's so beautiful. Vinia's cheeks flushed. She covered her mouth with her hand. I'm sorry, master. I got a little too excited. Lean's gaze softened. When we're outside, you don't have to be so formal. You can be more casual. Vinia's eyes lit up. Really? How casual can I be? Like friends? Vinia broke into a brilliant smile. Okay, it's a promise. No takebacks. We'll act like friends. Does this mean Lean trusts me now? Vinia held a dandelion in her hands. She handed him the bouquet. Lean was a bit confused. What's this? I want to show you something nice. Vinia gently blew on the dandelion, its seeds scattering in the wind. She closed her eyes, enjoying the moment. What do you think? It's beautiful, isn't it? Lean looked at her. Yes, it's very beautiful. Vinia wove the dandelions into a crown and gently placed it on Lean's head. Lean's expression was a bit stiff. Vinia ran through the sea of flowers, and Lean followed behind her. Dandelion seeds danced all around them. The two of them sat side by side on a rock, overlooking the entire sea of flowers. Lean broke the silence. I am curious. What kind of life have you lived? Vinia said with a light laugh, my life? It's not interesting at all. You might fall asleep listening to it. Lean's gaze fell upon her. I haven't heard it yet. How would I know if it's interesting? Vinia hesitated. Do you really want to hear it? It's a very long story. She took a deep breath and began to speak slowly. Until now, I've lived my entire life just for money. I have 2 younger siblings. As the eldest daughter, I had to grow up fast and understand my mother's hardships. My mother worked tirelessly from morning to night just so we could have a comfortable life, and because of that, her health was ruined. To lighten my mother's burden a little, I gave up my studies early on and started working. I thought that as long as I could make money, as long as I could earn enough, all our problems would be solved. But, Lean pressed, but what? Vinia's eyes dimmed. In the end, I collapsed from overwork. I only thought about my family and never stopped to look after myself. A bitter smile appeared on Vinia's face. Thinking back now, my younger siblings could have worked part-time too. I regret only focusing on making money and missing my family's birthdays and holidays. Lean listened quietly. Although he didn't know what working part-time meant, he asked, do you miss your family? I can give you a week off. Vinia smiled and shook her head. Unfortunately, for certain reasons, I can't see them right now. That's why I hope you can also stop once in a while and look at the scenery around you. When your mind and body are healthy and relaxed, you'll naturally have the energy to care for those around you. Lean looked at her in silence. Rest. Look around. Vinia suddenly stood up and grabbed Lean's wrist. Look over there, quickly. Vinia pointed to the sunset on the horizon. Isn't today's sunset romantic? It's especially beautiful. Vinia closed her eyes, her face filled with a happy smile. Thank you. Thanks to your service, I was able to fulfill a small wish. I'm so happy. Lean gazed at her, the corners of his mouth turning up slightly. The two of them sat quietly in the sea of flowers, watching the sun sink below the horizon. A warm, orange glow enveloped everything. Night fell. On the cold, stone-paved street, Edward stood alone. Why did you call me to a place like this again? Didn't we finish talking about this last time? Those thieves were just greedy for money. They betrayed us. Kyle's brows furrowed. The situation was chaotic then, so we let it go. But thinking back on it now, it feels very suspicious. Are you suspecting me now? Edward sneered. Don't you know? I am His Majesty's most favored and loyal subject. Cailor. No, not you. It was a Grand Duke. He must have switched the chests midway. Remember the fire at my manor the night before the operation? It was then. Edwards's face darkened. Count, didn't you investigate that fire properly? You said it wasn't arson, but a natural occurrence. What kind of nonsense is this? Kyle was furious. Nonsense. You're not listening to me at all. I bribed the thieves according to the plan. The failure was due to your poor supervision. I wanted to find out the truth, but His Majesty ordered us to wrap this up quickly. Are you really going to defy His Majesty's will? What if you were the one who ordered the thieves to attack me? Because you're afraid I'm more valued by His Majesty than you are. Edwards burst out laughing. Your imagination is truly astounding. Then why don't you go tell His Majesty? This conversation is meaningless. I'll be taking my leave. Kyle clenched his fists. You think I don't dare? Edwards waved goodbye. Please don't contact me about this matter again. He must have been meticulously planning this with His Majesty for a long time. Why is that bastard acting like it has nothing to do with him? In the sea of flowers under the setting sun, the figures of Lean and Vinia intertwined. Lean gazed at her. Bella, you are truly special. I'm very curious. What on earth are you thinking about in that head of yours? His gaze was scorching. I want to see if I'm in there. Lean slowly moved closer. Their breaths mingled. Vinia suddenly woke up from her bed with a start. She held her forehead. What on earth was I dreaming about? She let out a long sigh of relief. Thank goodness it was just a dream. If it were real, that would be unacceptable. I can't fall in love with a character I created. Not even Lean. Meanwhile, in Lean's bedroom, he stood alone in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window. The image of Vinia's smiling face as she held the dandelion lingered in his mind. Lean covered his face with his hands. Why do I keep thinking of her smile? I don't even know her true identity. It must be because I've never seen such a brilliant smile. Lean paced around restlessly. It must be because going out after so long got me unnecessarily excited. Stop thinking about it. Go to sleep. The morning sun shone on the magnificent imperial palace. Grand Duke, it's been a while since you returned to the capital. I haven't been able to assign you a suitable task, but now there is an important matter I wish to entrust to you. Lean bowed slightly. I await your command. The Emperor gave the order. I have set up an office at the northwest gate of the Imperial Palace. You will receive the common people there and attend to their needs. Lean's eyes flickered. The northwest gate. What's wrong with it being there? Are you unwilling? I'm sending you to solve the problems of the commoners in my territory. Do you have any objections? Lean bowed slightly, his expression respectful. Please rest assured, I will never fail to meet your Majesty's expectations. Outside the northwest gate of the Imperial Palace was the capital's darkest and poorest corner, a gathering place for slums. Brothels and vagrants were everywhere. The environment was terrible and all kinds of diseases ran rampant. In the filthy river, 1 or 2 corpses would be floating every morning. Whenever this place was mentioned, everyone would wrinkle their brows in disgust. Civil Affairs Office. A plaque hung on the dilapidated building. Lean walked towards the creaking door. A cold wind howled through the dilapidated Civil Affairs Office. Owen pinched his nose, his face full of disgust. The working conditions here are too terrible. He waved his arms excitedly. No matter how dissatisfied His Majesty is with you, you have, after all, achieved great merits on the battlefield. How could he send you to a place like this? Lean turned his face away, his voice cold. That's enough. It's best to watch what you say in the capital. Find some people to clean this place up and procure some basic necessities. Owen shouted in disbelief. Are you really planning to work here? This isn't an office at all. His Majesty clearly wants to humiliate you. Even ordinary people wouldn't come to a place like this. An old woman with a cane appeared at the door. She cautiously peeked in. Is this the civil affairs office? The old woman gave a kind smile. I heard that this place helps common people solve their problems. Lean put down his pen, stood up, and gestured for her to come in. Owen hurried forward to help the old woman. Let me help you. Please walk slowly. Lean gently asked the old woman, what brings you here today? The old woman's voice trembled. I went to buy eggs, but the merchant took my money and didn't give me the eggs. When I argued with him, he even cursed at me. She clasped her hands, pleading desperately. Please help me. Today is my granddaughter's birthday. I really want to make her egg porridge. Lean picked up a piece of paper. I understand. First, we need to register your case. Tears welled up in the old woman's eyes. My granddaughter is very sick. We are too poor. We often don't have enough to eat. She loves egg porridge the most, so today I must. Lean promised the old woman, I promise you will be able to have egg porridge today. Owen clenched his fists, his heart in turmoil. To think that His Highness once commanded thousands of troops on the battlefield and has now been reduced to this. His face was filled with resentment and indignation. A few days later, a long line formed outside the Civil Affairs office. The crowd was buzzing with discussion. A woman asked excitedly, is it true? As long as you tell His Highness, he will help. I heard that His Highness Lean handles everything, big or small. A man chimed in, I lost a set of clothes. Can His Highness help me find it? The person next to him said with a laugh, last week, my cat climbed a tree, and it was His Highness Lean who rescued it. Lean sat behind the desk. A man was reporting to him, and then that person punched me. He was wearing a black coat. Lean picked up the wax seal and stamped it heavily on the envelope. He handed the letter to the man. Take this to the police station. They will help you resolve it. The man took the letter and bowed deeply. Thank you. Lean waved with a blank expression. Next, an eager voice called out, Master. That voice. Lean looked up abruptly. Vinia was holding a basket, smiling brightly. It's time for you to eat. Vinia walked out of the Grand Duke's residence. I finally got him to eat. She sighed in relief. If this keeps up, I'll become Lean's nanny, not just Alan's. People were enthusiastically holding up gifts. This is bread I made for you. This is fresh cabbage from our family's garden. My cat had kittens. I like to give you one. The guard was anxiously trying to maintain order. Everyone, please calm down. Not just anyone can enter the Grand Duke's residence. Vinia was full of questions. What is going on? The guard tearfully pleaded with her. Bella, help me. They just want to express their gratitude to His Highness, but I don't have the authority to let them in. Vinia took a deep breath. She raised her voice. All right, everyone, please follow me. It's time to show off my excellent skills from 20 years in the workforce. Night fell. In the dining room of the Grand Duke's residence, Arun stood to the side. Master, you look very tired. You should rest early tonight. Lean shook his head. No, I must review the report on the polluted river. How is Alan today? Arun reported with a smile. The young master trained very hard today as well. Miss Bella took good care of him. You don't need to worry. Lean asked, what is this? Arun explained, this is a document prepared by Miss Bella. Recently, the citizens have all wanted to express their gratitude to you, Master, so they came to the Grand Duke's residence with gifts. This is a record. It lists the gifts and brief information about the givers. She seems to be worried that someone might have ulterior motives. Arun continued, with this, we can find the giver's name and the gift. If a dangerous item appears, it will also help with the investigation. Lean flipped through the list. Miss Bella is always exceptionally meticulous when handling matters related to you. Yes, she seems to be. A strange look flashed in Lean's eyes. As expected, this is not something an ordinary nanny could do. She has clearly received a good education. Arun asked in confusion, Master, what do you mean by that? Lean closed the record book, a meaningful smile playing on his lips. It's nothing. In that case, it might not be a bad idea to occasionally call Bella over to help with official business in the future. The residence was bustling with activity. The butler was loudly directing the servants. Hurry up. It must be cleaned before the master returns. He looked around. Where is Bella? Vinia approached from the side. Were you looking for me? The butler turned to her. The Andrian festival is coming soon. We need to prepare food. Don't forget the most important thing, the rice cakes. The Andrian festival. Vinia's eyes sparkled. I can see the festival I created with my own eyes. Hundreds of years ago, a female knight named Andrea led her order of knights on a journey to subjugate monsters in the harsh winter. They endured the severe cold and fought bloody battles with the monsters, finally returning in triumph. To commemorate their sacrifice and courage, the people established a festival. The night survived on rice cakes, so rice cakes became a tradition. This is the origin of the festival. Phineas suddenly panicked. Oh no, I don't know how to make rice cakes at all. Phineas suggested to the butler. By the way, Evelyn mentioned before that she wanted to visit the kitchen after being away for so long. I'll take care of the young master and prepare the other food. How about we let Evelyn handle the rice cakes? The butler waved his hand impatiently. Do whatever you want. Just don't delay the preparations. Great. If I give Evelyn this chance, she'll show her true colors, right? I'll have to watch her closely and see what she's up to. In the courtyard, Evelyn was sweeping. Vinia called out softly, Evelyn. Evelyn turned around. Bella, what is it? I am cleaning. Vinia walked over with a smile. I've been watching you. You seem to have reflected a lot. So I spoke to the butler and arranged for you to make the rice cakes for the Andrian festival. He agreed. Evelyn knelt down excitedly and grabbed Vinia's hands. Really? Thank you, Bella. Vinia helped her up. Don't mention it. Do your best. A strange smile appeared on Evelyn's face. Okay, I will. Night fell. The residence of Count Kama was brightly lit. Edwards stepped into the residence. A scene of extravagance met his eyes. A strange man was holding a woman, teasing her wantonly. Don't you like me touching you here? Then give me money. Another man was frolicking with two women, letting out jarring laughter. Edwards's eyes instantly turned cold. He turned to leave. Theodore called out to him. Isn't that my amazing younger brother? Edwards? You're leaving as soon as you arrive? The task His Majesty assigned isn't finished yet. I must leave. Herbert, Count Kama, scolded. Even so, you should have greeted me and your brother. Is this how I taught you to be rude? The veins on Edwards's neck bulged, and his fists were clenched tightly at his sides. Edwards bowed slightly. I just didn't want to disturb you. Theodore poured a full glass of red wine. You certainly know how to enjoy yourself, don't you? The rumors are all over the place, saying you carouse with women alongside His Majesty. So why do you only act so noble and pure in front of me and Father? Edwards was expressionless. I just don't want to spoil His Majesty's fun. Theodore sneered. Oh, I forgot. You're His Majesty's dog, a loyal watchdog. He took a sip of wine. You look down on us so much, but if His Majesty gave the order, you'd go die immediately, wouldn't you? Theodore suddenly flew into a rage. How many bad things have you said about Father and me in front of His Majesty? What on earth did you say? His Majesty still refuses to accept Father's request for an audience. Edwards responded coldly. I have never spoken ill of either of you in front of His Majesty. Theodore laughed scornfully. Who are you kidding? My amazing little brother. Do you think by stopping me from seeing His Majesty, you can become the next Count Kama? He poked Edwards's chest with his finger. Wake up. You're just the bastard son of a prostitute. Edwards swung his fist hard, hitting Theodore squarely in the face. I can tolerate anything, but I will absolutely not tolerate you insulting my mother. Herbert rushed forward. How dare you raise your hand? Edwards glared at him. Didn't you hear what my brother just said? He insulted my mother. Herbert roared, cutting him off. Shut up. If you're going to talk about that shameless woman, don't even open your mouth. That woman is the shame of the Kama family. Herbert roared. You're also of that lowly bloodline. There must be a place for you. Edwards let out a cold laugh. Huh. How interesting, Father. Do you miss my mother's lowly bloodline so much that you sent someone to look for her again today? Should we ask stepmother if she knows about this? Herbert's face turned pale. You, what did you say? Guards, beat this bastard to death for me. 4 guards instantly drew their swords. Each one pointed at Edwards. Edwards was fearless. If I really die, what do you plan to do? After killing His Majesty's right-hand man, can you bear the consequences? Herbert trembled with rage. You bastard. I don't even want to see you again. Get out of this house immediately. Edwards turned and walked towards the door. Fine. I can't really kill that bastard. Theodore supported his swaying father. Father, calm down. Do you remember? I planted a spy in Grand Duke Lean's residence. That person will kill Lean during the Andrian festival. Once Lean is dead, we can regain His Majesty's trust. At that point, Edwards will be irrelevant. Outside the door, Edwards' steps faltered. They also have a spy in Grand Duke Lean's residence? No, I can't let Lean die so easily at their hands. How could this be? Edwards stood to the side. Your Majesty, what's wrong? The emperor pushed a letter over. Read this letter. The Minister of Finance just delivered it this morning. Edwards picked up the letter. Grand Duke Lean has requested a huge expenditure for road repairs and renovation of the sewer system. The emperor was furious. I sent him to that filthy, impoverished hellhole so he would live quietly like a dead rat. Now he actually dares to ask me for money. That bastard has finally turned into a mad dog. Edwards looked down at the letter. Your Majesty, can't you just deny the approval? The emperor snatched the letter back. If it were that simple, I wouldn't be telling you this. He gave an order. Go to the northwest gate immediately and report on the situation there. Edwards placed a hand on his chest. As you command, Your Majesty. The streets of the Northwest Gate's Commoner District were bustling, a scene of prosperity. Edwards walked across a stone bridge. He stopped. He bent down and dipped his hand into the clear river water. An attendant put a hand to his forehead. Wow, is this really that filthy, poor Northwest Gate? The change is too great. I'm seeing it with my own eyes, but I still can't believe it. Is this good news or bad news? How should I report this to His Majesty? Edward stood up. Be quiet. Let me think. He raised his head, his gaze fixed on the distance. Grand Duke Lean's guards were on patrol. Is that Lean's army? I have to follow them and see. Edwards tailed the guards to the front of a shop. A guard captain held up a document. By order of the Grand Duke, on suspicion of fraud, this shop is to be closed for rectification, effective immediately. The shop owner rushed out in a fury. What? Do you know whose shop this is? This is the shop of young Master Theodore, the eldest son of Count Kama. Do you want to oppose the young master? Edwards hid behind a door. My brother's shop. If my brother finds out, he'll definitely want to get rid of Lean as soon as possible. Maybe I should teach them a lesson, so they can't snitch. Scene changed to the Imperial Palace office. Edwards reported to the Emperor. Your Majesty, the situation of the Northwest Gate is improving significantly. Therefore, I recommend approving Grand Duke Lean's funding request. I believe we will see even greater development than now. Why is he working so hard? Does he think I'll give him some kind of reward? Edwards lowered his eyes. I'm not clear on his exact intentions. But in any case, being able to collect more taxes from the Northwest Gate, isn't that a good thing? The Emperor sneered. Regardless of whether the common people live well or not, taxes can always be squeezed out of them. Do you think Lean is doing this just so I can collect a few more coins? The Emperor's fingers tapped heavily on the desk. It's too suspicious. Really too suspicious. He narrowed his eyes. Does he really not know? Or is he pretending not to know? I sent him there to live quietly like a dead rat. Edwards, how much longer do you think I should tolerate him climbing over my head? Edwards bowed. If you have a task for me, please give the order. A cruel smile formed on the Emperor's lips. Very well. Go to the prison and release Chester. Edwards looked up abruptly. What? Chester? You mean that vicious bandit who killed more than a dozen people? Chester was someone Lean got captured with his own hands at the border. That bastard firmly believes that Lean killed his wife and children. Do you think Chester will let Lean go? Edwards' voice trembled slightly. You want to kill Lean? The Emperor nodded. That's right. Handle this matter well, and I will reward you. Edwards bowed his head deeply. As you command. Lean, everyone wants you dead now. Evelyn was walking on the stone path. Vinia was quietly following behind her. She looked around, her expression wary. Vinia quickly hid behind a wall, secretly observing the depths of the alley. Evelyn was talking to a person in a black robe. She saw Evelyn take out a small bottle. Is she planning to tamper with the food again? A hand suddenly landed on her shoulder. Hello, we meet again. Vinia turned around in shock. Edwards was smiling at her. You scared me. Evelyn turned her head abruptly. Vinia quickly buried her face in Edwards' chest. Evelyn turned back with a blank expression and continued on her way. She went around the corner and disappeared from view. Vinia abruptly pushed Edwards away. Is she gone? Edwards chuckled lightly. Our relationship isn't that intimate yet, is it? Vinia looked apologetic. I was afraid of being caught. You suddenly acted like you knew me, so I had to play along. I'm sorry. Edwards looked at her with interest. Are you a nanny? It seems if that person caught you, you'd be dragged back home. I'm not her nanny, but I am indeed a nanny. Well then, if you'll excuse me. Vinia turned to leave. Edwards called out to her, wait a minute. His expression was serious. Tell me your name before you go. Last time, you asked for my name, but didn't tell me yours. Remember? Vinia's eyes were hesitant. I have 3 names. Shinbora from my past life, Bella, and Vinia. Which one do you like best? Better not to say. She finally spoke. My name is Bella. It's a common name, isn't it? Edwards replied gently. No, it's beautiful. I'll remember it. Vinia waved her hand. Then we're done here, right? I'll be going now. Edwards grabbed her wrist. He held it tightly. Let me walk you home. You're from out of town. You might not know the way. It's on my way too. What should I do? I haven't seen him in a while. It feels kind of nice. But he's a villain. In that case, maybe I can take this opportunity to find out some news about the Emperor. Vinia finally smiled. All right, let's walk together for a bit then. Vinia and Edwards walked side by side. The atmosphere was a bit subtle. He looked so handsome. No, his face must be full of stories. Vinia stopped and asked with concern, did something bad happen? Tell me, maybe I can help. Edwards looked at her. This isn't my story. It's about someone I know. Are you willing to listen? My superior ordered me to release a criminal from prison. That person is a vicious bandit who has killed countless people. If I don't release him, I'll be disobeying my superior's order. But if I do release him, how many innocent lives will be sacrificed? Edwards gazed at her. So what would you do? Vinia answered without hesitation. Release him, of course. Edwards looked shocked. What? Why? Vinia put her hands on her hips and explained confidently. Keeping that kind of person in prison is a waste of crystals. The superior just told you to release him. He didn't say where to release him. Edwards was stunned. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Vinia continued. Then put him somewhere he can never escape from, like a dense primeval forest or the middle of the deep sea. Edwards's golden eyes instantly lit up. That's right. This way, I can both obey the order and protect the people. He looked at Vinia sincerely. Miss Bella, I'm so glad I could talk to you. This is a really good solution. I will pass it on to that person I know. I am relieved. The sea should be better than the forest, right? He breathed a sigh of relief. That's great. The relief on his face was genuine. I was clearly telling a fictional story, yet he reacted so genuinely. I can't see him as a simple villain. He seems to have been forced into becoming a villain. There must be a hidden reason I don't know about. Vinia looked up. Sir Edwards, you seem to care a lot about the common people. Why did you become the Tyrant Emperor's right-hand man? Edwards's expression froze. Vinia immediately covered her mouth. Sorry, I should have been more tactful. You're not going to arrest me for insulting the Emperor, are you? Edwards closed his eyes with a bitter smile. Because I'm a bad person. Vinia refuted him decisively. Lies. If you were really a bad person, why did you help me find a ride back then without asking for anything in return? You were the one who kept catching my eye. Does he know how mysterious and charming he is? A playful smile tugged at the corner of Edwards's lips. So, can I collect my payment now? I'm looking forward to seeing how much you'll give me. Vinia was instantly flustered. Can I take back what I just said? Vinia's gaze became firm. But I won't take back my thought that you're a good person. I'll treat you to a meal next time we meet. Let's be honest with each other then. Edwards was slightly taken aback. All right. Vinia looked up at the sky. It's gotten so late. She smiled and waved goodbye. Well then, see you next time. Edwards watched her turn. Hey, she's leaving just like that? I wasn't ready. The sound of urgent hoofbeats approached. Sir Edwards, a knight, rode up. His Majesty is looking for you urgently. Please return to the palace immediately. Edwards turned and answered, all right. I understand. He swung himself onto his horse with a swift movement. Vinia walked alone on the stone-paved road, her figure receding into the distance. Edwards watched Vinia leave, his cheeks slightly flushed. Two riders galloped along the stone-paved road. Lean watched his departing figure. He stood in place, his brow furrowed. What did I just see? A silver-haired knight spoke with concern. It's getting late. Aren't you returning to the Count's residence? You should go home and rest. Your family will be worried. Edwards's voice was calm and hollow. I don't have a home, nor anyone who would worry about me. Wipe that look off your face. Edwards turned his head. By the way, before Lean returned to the capital, didn't you plant someone in the Grand Duke's residence? Are you still in contact? What information has been exchanged? The silver-haired knight looked flustered. Well, actually, that person has gone missing. Edwards whipped his head around. What did you say? Missing? The silver-haired knight explained hastily. We lost contact after Grand Duke Lean returned. I've been looking for him. I was going to report to you once I had news. Edwards gave sharp command. Find him immediately. If he's been captured, that the problem will be serious. The silver-haired knight bowed and accepted the order. My deepest apologies. I will be sure to find him. I was going to use him to warn my brother. Lean. In that case, I must go see Lean myself. I have to be careful. I can't let the Emperor know I went to the Grand Duke's residence. This is troublesome. Night enveloped the magnificent Grand Duke's residence. Lean stood in the empty hall. Vinia left, carrying a tray. The sound of her footsteps echoed in the silence. Vinia hummed a cheerful little tune, her face beaming with a happy smile. Lean's gaze followed her. If two completely unrelated people are so intimate, Edwards's voice echoed in his mind. Bella, I've really missed you. Vinny smiled in response. I've missed you too, young master. Edwards gazed at her. Then, tell me everything you've seen and heard in the Grand Duke's residence so far. Vinny replied obediently, yes, young master. I'll tell you everything now. Lean's eyes turned icy. His thoughts were pulled back to reality. Stop. Phineas stopped and turned around, puzzled. Phineas smiled brightly. Master, you're back. Lean looked at her expressionlessly. You seem to be in a good mood. The smile on the maid's face froze. What? Am I not always like this? Lean turned and walked away, leaving a cold back behind him. What's wrong? He left before he finished speaking. Did something bad happen? Lean sat at his desk. A knock came from the door. Owen entered the room. Your Highness, you were looking for me? Lean put down his pen. I want to distribute gifts to the residents of the domain during the Andrian festival. Help me pick some out. Owen looked troubled. Your Highness, I really don't know how to choose gifts. Lean looked up at him. You call yourself my subordinate, yet you can't even handle such a small matter? Owen looked even more troubled. If it were leading troops into battle, that would be a different matter. But asking me to choose gifts. An idea struck Owen. I'll go ask Bella. She definitely knows more about this than I do. Lean's eyes flashed. No, Bella cannot be trusted. Owen replied obediently, yes. A trace of confusion crossed his face. His Highness doesn't trust Bella? Why did his attitude change so suddenly? Vinia walked hastily down the corridor, carrying a tray. Vinia's ears fell hot. Is someone talking bad about me? She pushed open the door and walked in with snacks. Young master, I made some snacks. Would you like to try some? Arun was engrossed in drawing. Okay, I'll eat after I finish drawing. Vinia asked curiously, are you drawing? Arun looked up excitedly. Yes, want to see? He held up the drawing, showing it off proudly. Tajda, how is it? Vinia looked at the person in the drawing. Did you draw the master? Arun nodded. MHM, the Andrian festival is coming soon. Arun continued to explain, Father has seemed very tired lately, so I wanted to draw a picture for him. He lowered his head and continued coloring the drawing. The tip of the pen rustled on the paper. After drawing the last stroke, he suddenly stopped. What if Father doesn't like it? Vinia gently stroked Arun's head. Don't worry, he'll definitely love it. Arun's eyes sparkled with anticipation. Will he really like it? Vinia smiled reassuringly. Of course. The master dotes on you so much. He'll surely treasure this drawing. Arun sighed in relief. That's good. By the way, what gift are you giving to Father, Bella? Vinia froze. Me? Why would I give a gift? Arun said, as if it's obvious. That day is a day for giving gifts to people you like. Don't you like my father, Bella? Vinia's cheeks turned crimson. How could I possibly like the master? Arun tilted his head. But when you talk to Father, you're always smiling so happily. An image appeared in Arun's mind. That means you like each other. Just like how I like you, Bella. We're also very happy when we're together. Vinia waved her hands in a fluster. That's different. Arun looked serious. But everyone says you and Father are dating. Vinia was completely petrified. What? When did this rumor start spreading? Arun shrugged. I don't know either. The night was quiet. Moonlight streamed through the curtains into the room. Vinia tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. I really can't sleep at all. She sat up abruptly. I'm definitely not losing sleep because of that rumor, right? That rumor has no effect on me at all. She buried her head in her pillow in frustration. Lean is a character I created. I can't possibly fall in love with him. Sleep, just go to sleep. She closed her eyes, forcing herself to fall into a dream. Vinia's eyes were closed, her face beaming with a happy smile. Doesn't it look a lot like it's snowing? Lean gazed at her gently. It certainly does. It's truly a beautiful sight. Why did this scene suddenly appear? What on earth is wrong with me? Vinia woke up with a start, her pupils constricting. She shot up from the bed and let out a scream. The morning sun bathed the earth. A new day has begun. Sunlight penetrated the study window, motes of dust dancing in the air. Lean sat on the sofa, quietly flipping through a book. A knock sounded. Without looking up, he said, come in. Vinia walked in with a tea tray, a brilliant smile on her face. Good morning, master. Lean raised his eyes, his gaze icy. Where's the maid who brings tea every day? Why are you here? Vinia looked nervous. He was in a bad mood yesterday. Now he's suddenly so cold. Could he have heard the rumor about us? A cold glint flashed in Lean's purple eyes. Seeing her terrified look, she must be the spy Edwards planted. Vinia took a deep breath, forcing herself to be calm. I must act like a professional nanny, unaffected by rumors. Master, I have something to say to you. Lean's eyes didn't leave his book. I'm a bit busy right now. We can talk later. Vinia's tone was urgent. This is important. I believe there's a spy planted by someone else in the Grand Duke's residence. Lean's eyes flashed. She's testing me. Fine, I'll play along with you. He closed the book with a snap. A spy? Nonsense. Do you take me for a fool who would let a spy into the residence? Vinia felt a chill. Why did he suddenly become so cold? Does he think I'm the one who spread the dating rumor? That I want to climb the social ladder? No, that's not it. I have to ask. Vinia mustered her courage. Do you have some opinion of me? If you've heard any rumors, please don't believe them, because it's very likely they have nothing to do with me. A cold sneer played on Lean's lips. What if I said I saw it with my own eyes? Would you still say it has nothing to do with you? Vinia looked composed. I didn't do anything. So what if he saw something? He saw it. What exactly did he see? Lean recalled the scene. When I personally said I witnessed her with Edwards, she could remain so calm. A well-trained spy, indeed. Lean clenched his jaw, burning with anger. I really misjudged you. I once thought you were different from those greedy, vain people. Was asking to be friends just a ploy to gain my trust? Vinia looked directly at Lean. Vain. Do you think I asked to be friends just so I could be your equal? She placed the tea tray heavily on the table, making a sharp sound. If that's the case, then let's pretend that conversation never happened. But I still hope you can continue to trust me, because my loyalty to you and the young master is from the heart. Lean sat quietly in the study. Vinia stood opposite him. The atmosphere between them was tense. Lean's purple eyes were icy cold. Vinia's green eyes were filled with determination. She clenched her fists, her knuckles turning white from the force. Vinia suddenly dropped to her knees. Her knees hit the carpet with a thud. Lean frowned slightly. What are you doing? Vinia lowered her eyes. Since you, master, are unwilling to be friends with me, I will speak in my own way. Vinia raised her head, her gaze firm. I want to use that reward you granted me. Lean looked at her in disbelief. What? You said that if I needed it, you would grant me one wish. My wish is that from now on, you will believe every word I say. Lean ran a hand over his forehead. Are you really going to use the wish like this? Vinia didn't hesitate. Yes. He let out a weary sigh. All right. Speak. The day of the Andrian festival. The magnificent banquet hall was brilliantly lit, filled with guests. Young master, you've prepared a gift, right? Arun excitedly held up a gift wrapped in gold. Father, this is the Andrian festival gift I prepared for you. Lean opened the gift. Inside was a drawing. In the drawing, a childlike knight held a sword high, with words written beside it. Father protects the country. I will protect father. Lean looked at the drawing, the corners of his mouth turning up unconsciously. The me he drew looks exactly like him. Arun added, I drew the picture myself, but Bella framed it. This is a gift from both of us. Arun winked playfully at Vinia. Right, Bella? Vinia's expression instantly stiffened. A gift from both of us. Lean is so sensitive right now. Lean closed the picture frame, his expression returning to calm. Thank you, Arun. If you like drawing, I'll hire a teacher for you as soon as possible. Arun's eyes lit up. That's great. Thank you. Vinia looked at Lean. He's actually this happy. It would be better if his expression were a little more relaxed. But compared to before, his skill at complimenting people has improved a lot. Lean's gaze inadvertently swept over Vinia. Her cheeks were flushed red. His heart skipped a beat. Lean stood up. Your face looks strange. Do you have a fever? Vinia waved her hands in a fluster, her cheeks burning. Ah, it's nothing. I'm just a little hot. Oh my God, why is my face getting redder? It's a face I see every day. What's there to be flustered about? She suddenly remembered something. Right? Master, this is my gift. Vinia handed over a bright red scarf. Vinia tied the scarf for him. You never wear a scarf in the winter. This is for you. I hope you'll take good care of yourself. Lean touched the scarf. The soft fabric felt excellent. The quality is very good. A knock came from the door. A servant peeked in. Master, Sir Edwards has arrived. Lean adjusted the scarf, his expression returning to normal. I know. Vinia's face turned pale. Edwards is here. I absolutely cannot let Edwards find out about my relationship with Lean. And I definitely can't let Lean know about my relationship with Edwards. Lean took off the scarf. Arun, go outside. Let Sir Edwards in. He casually tossed the scarf onto the sofa. Bella, you stay. It'll save me the trouble of calling someone else to pour tea. Vinia forced a stiff smile. Yes. Edwards walked in slowly. He looked around and exclaimed in admiration. The hall is decorated so magnificently. The festive atmosphere is very strong. Lean sat on the sofa in a relaxed posture. Yes, my new nanny/servant, Bella, put a lot of thought into it. Bella, serve Sir Edward some tea. Understood. Lean looked at Edwards. I didn't expect you to come in person. Are you here to deliver His Majesty's decree? Edwards let out a light laugh. Can I only come when I'm delivering a decree? Actually, I came this time. His gaze fell directly on Vinia. Her figure was reflected in his golden pupils. What are you doing here? Vinia looked up in shock, her gaze meeting Edwards's. The hand she was pouring tea with trembled. You have the wrong person. Lean's eyes shifted doubtfully between the two. Do you two know each other? I'll give them both a chance. Vinia waved her hands hastily. We don't know each other. How could we possibly know each other? Edwards looked at her flustered state and gave a knowing smile. All right, then I'll pretend I don't know you. It's my first time seeing her too. Lean's fingers tapped lightly on his knee. Edwards's attitude is very subtle. He doesn't seem to be deliberately hiding it, but it's like he's playing along with Bella's act. Is that it? So, Sir Edwards, what brings you here today? Edwards's smile faded, his expression turning serious. All right, I'll be direct. My brother has planted spies here. They intend to harm the Grand Duke. He spread his hands, his tone sincere. So please, you must be careful. I'd rather not hear the Grand Duke's obituary right after the festival ends. Vinia looked at him in shock. He's actually being so direct. Lean was expressionless. That you can say such things is truly unbelievable. Edwards laughed lightly. I'm serious. I'm telling you this because I don't want to stand by and watch a good person be killed by my brother. Isn't that reason enough? Lean was silent for a moment. No, it's enough. Edward stood up. They'll take my leave. I'm not joking, Grand Duke. He turned and left. Lean and Vinia quietly watched his departing back. Edwards and an attendant were walking in the courtyard. Edwards asked curiously, by the way, what's the name of the spy planted in the Grand Duke's residence? The attendant stopped in his tracks. It's Bella. Didn't you already know? Edwards was aghast. What? The night of the Andrian festival. Evelyn carried a plate of rice cakes and placed it respectfully before Lean. Master, I made some rice cakes. Please try them. Lean looked at the plate. Since you made them, that you eat first. Evelyn waved her hands in a panic, beads of sweat sliding down her forehead. How would I dare touch the master's food? Lean's eyes instantly turned cold. Caesar. A guard immediately stepped forward, twisted Evelyn's arms behind her back, and forced her to the ground. The guard drew his sword, crossing the blades at Evelyn's neck. She trembled all over in fear. The guard questioned her sternly. Answer me. Will you try to assassinate His Highness? Evelyn's face was pale. Lean watched all this coldly, not a ripple in his purple eyes. Vini. Daughter raised her head, her gaze firm. You said that if I needed it, you would grant me one wish. Lean put a hand to his forehead, looking perplexed. You want to use your wish on something like this? Yes. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. All right, speak. Vinia's voice was clear and urgent. Evelyn is the enemy's spy. She was going to put poison in the festival's rice cakes. So please, you must not eat them. And arrest Evelyn. Lean listened quietly, his expression grave. Vinia knelt on the ground, her hands tightly gripping her skirt. Master, actually, I've been deceiving you. I'm not Bella. I have my reasons. I was originally the daughter of a wealthy family, but my stubborn father wanted to marry me off to a strange, rich old man. So I ran away from home. Vinia looked at him frankly. As for my identity, you can investigate as you please. I can even tell you whose daughter I am. But on the run, my wallet was stolen. I realized I needed a guardian and a way to make a living. Evelyn, with a sword at her throat, shouted in terror, Master, how can you arrest me based on a one-sided story? Bella might be the real spy. What if she's deliberately framing me? Lean's voice was devoid of warmth. No, just as Bella said, your crime and the evidence have been exposed. This afternoon, I ordered the butler to search both of your rooms. We found poison powder in your room. Do you still want to argue? Evelyn's pupils dilated in fear. She clenched her jaw, glaring ahead. Lean waved his hand. Take her away. The guard immediately obeyed. Yes, Your Highness. He roughly dragged Evelyn away. Lean watched Evelyn being dragged away by the guards. Vinia let out a long sigh of relief. The crisis was finally over. Lean turned around, his gaze falling on her. So, what is your relationship with Edwards? Why did you pretend not to know him? Vinia's smile froze on her face. You already know about him. She explained, a little embarrassed. Yesterday, when I said my wallet was stolen, it was Edwards who helped me. Lean's eyebrows raised slightly. He helped you? Vinia smiled and tapped her cheek with a finger. But I didn't know it was him at the time. I only found out later. We're not actually close. You really don't need to worry about Edwards. Kama sat among the guests, a gentle smile on his face. It's my first time seeing him too, Lean muttered to himself. He doesn't look like it. Vinia stood in the distance. What? Lean looked up. No, nothing. Now it's your turn to answer. Master. Vinia moved closer to him, her eyes shining with anticipation. You'll be friends with me, right? Lean closed his eyes, a smile playing on his lips. Yes, we're still friends. Vinia clenched her fists in excitement. I knew I wasn't wrong about you. You're really a good person. Lean's eyes snapped open, and he looked alertly to the side. Vinia was startled by a sudden movement. What's happening? Lean's pupils constricted. He pulled Vinia into his arms. A dagger flew past her. A masked assassin descended from above, swinging a long sword down at Lean. Lean shoved Vinia away. Run. He drew the sword at his waist and met the assassin's attack. Blades clashed, sparks flying. Vinia was still in shock. How can this be? She turned and ran. The bombs. The bombs I made when I was locked in my room before. There must be some left. Vinia found the bombs. Found them. I have to pack these up quickly. There's no time. I'll pack them as I go. I need to grab the matches too. She held the bag, her expression grave. Lean, just hold on a little longer. Lean swung his sword to parry, his blade sharp. From this skill, I know who it is. Lean's blades slashed the assassin's mask. Chester. The assassin ripped off his mask, revealing a scarred face. Long time no see, Lean. He grinned, his eyes fierce. It wasn't enough for you to just capture me. You also killed my wife and child. Lean tightened his grip on his sword, his expression grim. Chester roared, Today I will repay this humiliation twofold. Lean retorted sharply, Your wife took your child and jumped off the cliff herself. That had nothing to do with me. Chester pressed his blade harder, his eyes bloodshot. If you hadn't pursued my wife, she wouldn't have been driven to a dead end. Pay for it with your life. Vinia ran over. Master, get out of the way. Lean looked back at her. Didn't I tell you to run? Staying here, you'll only get caught. The soldiers will hear the commotion and come soon. Vinia's eyes were firm. No, I said I would protect you, Master. I can't leave. Even if I'm useless, at least I can block an arrow for you. Lean's pupils constricted sharply. A twisted smile appeared on Chester's face. Perfect. Since you killed my wife, I'll kill your woman. He charged at Vinia. Vinia hastily struck a match. Hurry up, Light. The match went out. It won't light. Chester's blade was right before her eyes. Lean shouted, Watch out, Bella. The sound of a blade piercing flesh. Warm liquid sprayed out. Vinia's vision was stained red. Master! Vinia screamed in terror. Master! Chester raised his broken sword, a crazed smile on his face. Vinia trembled. Whoosh! The fuse of the last match was finally lit. It's lit. She threw the burning bomb at Chester. Damn it! No time to dodge. The bomb exploded in midair. Flames engulfed Chester. He let out a blood-curdling scream. Lean backhanded his sword, piercing Chester's back. The soldiers finally arrived. Your Highness! We're late. Lean clutched his sword hilt, his body swaying from blood loss. Quick, don't let that bastard get away. The soldiers answered in unison. Yes. In the courtyard, the soldiers rushed towards the fallen Chester. Your Highness, are you all right? Vinia supported the swaying Lean. Master, are you okay? Should I call a doctor? Lean pulled a picture frame from his coat. It's Arun's gift. Vinia's eyes welled up. Young Master Arun saved you. Master, Vinia supported Lean. Let me help you. You're injured. You need treatment quickly. Lean suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood, his vision starting to blur. Vinia was frantic. Lean's body slumped, and he completely lost consciousness, falling heavily against her. Vinia used all her strength to support him. Master, oh my God, someone help. Morning light spilled through the curtains, casting a white glow. Lean opened his eyes. A faint light reflected in his purple pupils. He slowly sat up. A hand touched his forehead. Lean's gaze fell to the side of the bed. Vinia was slumped over his bedside, fast asleep. His gaze froze. Why is my heart suddenly beating so fast? Lean's hand unconsciously clutched the clothes over his chest. A strange palpitation echoed in his chest. Vinia's image flashed in Lean's mind. No, I said I would protect you, Master. Even if I'm useless, I will never leave. At least I can still block an arrow for you. Lean's thoughts returned to the present. He gazed at Vinia's sleeping face. A thought appeared without warning. Do I like Bella? Vinia let out a soft moan. Her eyelashes trembled slightly. Vinia rubbed her sleepy eyes. Master, this is great. You're awake, Vinia said quickly. You had a high fever all night. I was worried sick. How are you feeling? Do you want some water? Are you hungry? Does your wound still hurt? Let me see. He placed his palm on Lean's forehead. Vinia breathed a sigh of relief. That's great. The fever's gone. I'll get you a glass of warm water. He turned to leave. Wait. Vinia had a gentle smile on his face. What is it? Is there anything you need me to do? Before I passed out, I think I heard. Thought you call my name. Vinia's smile froze on his face. He remembered his desperate cry. Master Lean, oh God, please let. Vinia quickly bowed his head and explained, I'm sorry, Master. I was just so worried about you. That's why. I'll never do it again. Lean, blushing, turned his head away. It sounded nice. Vinia froze. What? Lean's hands were slightly flushed. He stared at him. If you want, you can just call me by my name from now on. Vinia stood there, a little flustered. Hey, why? Lean's gaze was frank. Because you said we're friends. It's normal for friends to call each other by their first names. A bright, sincere smile spread across Vinia's face. All right, Lean. There was a smile in Lean's eyes. Right? If there are any rice cakes left, bring them out. It is the Andrian festival. After all, we should at least have a taste. Vinia stood at the door, his face full of apology. Seeing you have what looked like a nightmare. I felt terrible, but that's a good idea. I'll go make them for you right away. The door closed softly. Lean sat alone in the empty room. A nightmare. Yes, for me, it was indeed a dreamlike festival. He picked up the photo frame on the table, his fingertips tracing the childish handwriting. Owen strode into the room. Your Highness, it's great that you're awake. How are you feeling? Lean sat on the edge of the bed. Owen's expression was grave. I apologize, but I must report to you immediately about Chester. Lean closed his eyes. Go on. I sent men to investigate the prison where Chester was held. I found out he was originally in a special prison for serious offenders. He didn't escape. Someone intentionally let him go. A drop of cold sweat trickled down Owen's face. The identity of that person. Lean's pupils suddenly sharpened. Was it Edwards? Owen's expression was a mix of fear and confirmation. It was him. Lean's eyes were cold. He wouldn't have the guts on his own. It must have been the Emperor's order. Owen pressed. What do you plan to do? A cold smile touched the corner of Lean's mouth. I think it's time to make a move. Sunlight filled the magnificent Imperial Palace Hall. Nobles were seated on both sides of a long table. Edward stood by the Emperor's side. Theodore stood up to report, Your Majesty, the spy I sent has eliminated Lean. It's truly gratifying. The Emperor's eyes widened. Is this true? Theodore smiled smugly. Yes. It said Lean hasn't left his residence for days. He died suddenly without leaving an heir. Everyone is keeping it quiet. Is this true? Edwards turned to the Emperor. He indeed hasn't appeared at the northwest gate recently. A voice came from the entrance of the council hall. Oh my, so you were all this worried about me. The main doors burst open. Lean walked in slowly. All the nobles stood up in terror. Lean's footsteps echoed in the silence. My residence had an assassin problem, so I was a bit busy. A sharp glint flashed in Lean's pupils. But fortunately, I've taken care of everything. I was on my way here. The Emperor was also in shock. Theodore was flustered. Aren't you dead? Lean's voice was calm and firm. Commune. Two guards pushed Evelyn into the hall. Evelyn was shoved to her knees. The nobles whispered among themselves. Lean's gaze locked onto the silver-haired noble. Sir Theodore, I heard you gave this person poison and ordered her to kill me at the Andrian festival. Sir Theodore's face was pale. Nonsense. I don't know this person. Drag this woman out of here, bringing such a filthy, lowly woman here. Are you trying to defile His Majesty's eyes? Evelyn cried out in despair, My lord. You said you would protect me. If you keep pretending not to know me. Sir Theodore was furious. What? You dare threaten me? This is a misunderstanding. That woman is just trying to save her own skin by biting the only person she knows. Lean remained expressionless, silent. An interrogation will naturally reveal the truth. Also, I prepared a gift for everyone. Lean placed a box on the table. What gift? Did you dig up some treasure? Lean abruptly threw open the lid and lifted a bloody human head from inside. The nobles recoiled in horror. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Isn't that the infamous thief, Chester? Shouldn't he be in prison? How could? Edward's pupils contracted. I threw him into the sea myself. How could this be? Lean's voice was bone-chillingly cold. I'm also very curious. Why would a thief who should be in prison appear at my residence and attempt to kill me? The Emperor's voice held a trace of weariness. What a shame. I will interrogate the prison staff and find out the truth. He waved his hand. You've caused enough of a scene. You may leave. Lean bowed slightly. Since Your Majesty says so, I will take my leave. Lean turned and left with the guards and Evelyn, his back disappearing through the council hall doorway. The Emperor slammed his fist on the table. That bastard who was supposed to be dead. Why did he walk back in one piece? A noble hurried forward to placate him. Your Majesty, please calm your anger. The Emperor gritted his teeth. That cockroach-like bastard. One day, I'll make him kneel before me. In the sunlight, Lean and his men walked out of the Imperial Palace, their steps firm. On a street under the cover of night, Evelyn lay in a pool of blood. Her eyes were wide open, unable to rest in peace. Morning sunlight filled the courtyard. Has everything been taken care of? Yes, all the prison staff have been silenced. Good work. The emperor stopped walking. By the way, you saw Lean's eyes yesterday, didn't you? Make sure no evidence is left behind. Right. How are the tax collections for my birthday banquet coming along? A shabby birthday banquet for the emperor would damage the nation's prestige. Edwards bowed. Of course, Your Majesty. I have urged them to show more sincerity than usual. His demands are getting more and more outrageous. Yes, this is all for the country and its people. The emperor abruptly changed the subject. By the way, you must bring a partner to the ball this time. How are things going with the young lady of the Kyle family? Edward smiled slightly. Your Majesty, I actually already have someone in my heart. The emperor looked astonished. What? Is this true? You're not joking with me, are you? Edward's expression was serious. Your Majesty, I am serious. Hearing this, the emperor laughed loudly. Huh, this is quite a surprise. Then bring her to the ball. Edwards bowed and accepted the order. As you command. Lean sat at his desk, looking at the invitation in his hand. Attend the emperor's birthday banquet with a partner. A smile touched the corner of his mouth. This time, I have someone in mind. The market was bustling and noisy. Vinia was holding an apple, choosing from a stall. Someone called his name from behind. He turned to see Edwards walking quickly towards him. Lord Edwards. What a coincidence. Edwards stopped in front of him. This is no coincidence. I came looking for you specifically. He held out his hand. Can you come back to my residence with me now? I have something to say to you. Vinia looked troubled. I still have a lot to do. I should be getting back. Edwards insisted. It won't take long. Really, just a moment. He gave an earnest smile. Aren't you curious why I'm acting this way? Trying to pique my curiosity in such a cheap way. Fine. He helped me find a house, pretended to be my lover, and then acted like he didn't know me in front of Lean last time. I'll just consider this one last time for old time's sake. Vinia made up his mind. All right, let's go. A flush appeared on Edward's face. Owen turned around, a look of confusion on his face. Huh, what did they meet? The magnificent residence stood under the sun. In the living room, Vinia and Edwards sat opposite each other. He spoke first. What did you want to say? Edwards ordered the butler, go get the gift. The butler brought in a gift box tied with a blue ribbon. This is it. Vinia looked at the box before him. What is this? The gift box opened. A long blue dress adorned with lace lay quietly inside. It was radiant. Edwards smiled. This is a gift. Please wear it. And attend the ball with me. Vinia's eyes widened. Go to the ball with you? Edwards explained. His Majesty is always trying to set me up with other women, but I don't like that young lady. Can you do me a favor? I think I understand the situation, but my father, Earl Tangerlin, will also be there. I absolutely cannot run into him. Vinia bowed slightly. I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't accept your request. He stood up. It's getting late. I should head back to the Duke's residence. Wait. His eyes suddenly turned cold, his voice low. Aren't you the spy I planted in the Duke's residence? I order you to obey. Vinia's pupils contracted. Cold sweat trickled down. Inside the Duke's residence, a magnificent green gown was on display. What a beautiful dress. I think it would suit Bella very well. Who said I was giving it to Bella? Owen was puzzled. Other than Bella, I can't think of anyone else you'd give it to. But why isn't Bella back yet? It's long past the time she should have returned. I saw Bella leaving the city with Edwards this afternoon. Lean's face darkened. What? Owen exclaimed, Your Highness, where are you going? Lean rushed out of the Duke's residence. Doesn't that woman know how dangerous it is to follow him? Vinia answered, trembling, I am a spy Edwards originally planted. I am Bella. Edwards leaned in closer. I sent people to give the code phrase. They said there was no response. Why were you unresponsive? Why didn't you fulfill your duties as a spy? Have you developed feelings for Lean? Vinia hurriedly tried to explain. Wait, I think I need to explain. Please calm down and listen to me first. Edwards cut him off. No explanation needed. He grabbed Vinia's hand. Come back now, Bella. This is an order. Return to my residence and work for me. A roar came from the doorway. Let go of that hand. Edwards and Vinia looked over in shock at the same time. Lean stood at the door, his eyes as sharp as a knife. Lean walked over steadily. Please come this way. But a guest arrived first. I'll go ask if you can go in. Edward's voice came from the crack in the door. Bella, come back now. This is an order. Return to my residence and work for me immediately. Lean's pupils contracted sharply. Let go of that hand. Lean questioned Edwards. What do you mean? Come back to work. What right do you have to give orders to my attendant? Edwards pressed his forehead, his tone icy. I wasn't aware the Grand Duke was so rude. This is my residence. Not only did you enter without permission, but now you're questioning me? Edwards, I think you've made a mistake. I'm not the person you're looking for. For some personal reasons, I made a deal with that person and borrowed her identity. Edwards' pupils dilated in shock. So if you want to find the real Bella, please go back to her hometown to look for her. Now, please leave. Vinia took Lean's arm and turned to leave. Edwards stood alone, a solitary figure. The door slammed shut. There must be some mistake. You seem to think I was Bella. Lee knows I'm Vinia, so it's fine. But Edward seems to be in a bad spot. But why would he suddenly come looking for the real Bella? I really don't get it. Lean was expressionless. He most likely sent a spy to watch me. This was probably the Emperor's order. He's not called the Emperor's lapdog for nothing. His actions are entirely at His Majesty's command. He is the most dangerous person in the world. So, don't have any more contact with him. And don't pretend to know him anymore. He looks glamorous on the outside, but inside he's an unfathomable villain. Following the Emperor's orders, countless innocent people have died silently at his hands. Vinia's pupils trembled. A drop of cold sweat trickled down. Edwards killed that many people? Night fell. The residence was silent in the twilight. I really don't know. Which one is the real face of Edwards? Then everything he's shown so far was all a disguise? He used to smile so gently. Vinia pushed open the door. Young master, your meal. Fireworks bloomed outside the window, their brilliant light illuminating the room. Arun was kneeling on a chair. His small hands clutched the curtains, watching mesmerized. Right, today is the last day of the Andrian festival. Vinia had a realization. We can't just let it pass. Our Arun has grown up. He certainly has the right to enjoy the festival. But will Lean agree? He's in a bad mood today, and it's all because of me. I did it. Vinia stood in the festival crowd. Arun's eyes were shining, his cheeks flushed. Bella, this is the first time I've seen so many people. He likes me this much. How could I not bring him? Lean. Butler, I'm sorry for deceiving you. We won't be back too late. Vinia held Arun's hand, walking through the lively stalls. Arun pointed ahead excitedly. Bella, look, that one. A vendor was enthusiastically displaying skewers with rows of lizard-shaped creatures on them. Arun shouted excitedly, how amazing! Let's eat one together. Can I eat it too? He suddenly remembered something. I didn't bring any money. Bella, do you have money? I really want to say no. Vinia forced himself to stay calm. Of course I did. How much is it? The vendor enthusiastically introduced. 1 silver coin per skewer. 3 skewers for 2 silver coins. No, just one is fine. Arun happily took a bite of the skewer. He offered the skewer to Vinia's mouth. You try some too, Bella. Vinia stiffly opened his mouth. Yes. This is probably the biggest crisis of my nanny career. But as long as Arun is happy, I have to eat it. He closed his eyes and took a bite as if facing death. Arun started laughing. Bella, you didn't think it was a real lizard, did you? The stall sign read fried fish cake skewers. Arun explained, they said it's fried fish cake, made in the shape of a lizard. Young master. Arun excitedly pulled Vinia. Bella. Let's go look over there too. Wow, I've seen a whole roasted chicken, but this is the first time I've seen a whole one on a skewer. And it's 3-tiered. A giant cookie house appeared before them. This is something straight out of a fairy tale. The windows are even made of macarons. A chef stood at the door, warmly inviting people in. Welcome. Under the festival night sky, colorful flags fluttered and fireworks bloomed. A vendor shouted. Arun's eyes were drawn to the prizes at the stall. They were fixed firmly on one. He seemed to want that teddy bear. It was indeed very cute. Vinia pointed at the teddy bear and asked the owner, how can I get that? The vendor smiled and replied, just hit 5. Want to try? Vinia said confidently, I'll try. Arun, watch the dart skills I learned at the arcade. The dart flew through the air and hit the balloon with precision. Vinia turned his head proudly. Hey, young master, did you see that? Arun's eyes were full of admiration. Wow. Bella, you're so cool. The second dart flew out, but the 2 darts collided. Arun clenched his fists to cheer him on. It's okay. Go, Bella. Vinia took a deep breath. Thanks, I'll focus. Another dart was thrown, and it stuck in the exact same spot. Vinia frowned, feeling something was strange. He suddenly turned to the vendor. Hey, why do the darts always get stuck there? The vendor looked innocent. Miss, are you a fool? You threw it there. That's so of course it's stuck there. I see. No wonder the prizes are piled up like a mountain. He's a total fraud. Vinia was furious. At such a happy festival, how much money can you make with this kind of scam? What did you say? The vendor picked his nose, looking impatient. If you feel it's unfair, just hit 3 and take a doll. I have to serve the next customer. Hurry up and finish throwing, then get lost. Wait a moment, a steady voice rang out. Lean stepped forward. I'll throw the remaining 3 darts. Lean pulled a short knife from his coat and spoke calmly. The reason the darts always veer to one side is simple. There's a force pulling them in that direction. The vendor was terrified. Whoa, put that thing down. Like magnetism. Lean flipped a dart over and brought the tail near the tip of another dart. The 2 darts instantly stuck together. Vinia realized the truth. You liar. You actually put magnets on the dart tips. The vendor became angry from embarrassment. This isn't against the law, right? It's my freedom whether to use magnets or not. Lean deftly twirled the dart between his fingertips. Then this is also my freedom. He flicked his wrist. The dart left his hand like a flash of yellow light. It embedded itself deeply into the wooden board. A loud crack echoed as wood chips flew. Bang! The second balloon burst. Bang! The third balloon also popped. The vendor clutched his head, screaming in terror. Stop, please stop. If you keep this up, everything will be ruined. Lean looked at the battered stall and said flatly, Even for a temporary stall, this is far too flimsy. What if it collapses and hurts a passerby? He turned to the vendor. Did you do a safety inspection before opening? The vendor trembled. You. He fell to his knees with a thud and offered the teddy bear with both hands. Please, just let me go this time. Vinia took the teddy bear and handed it to Arun. Since the wall is already broken, repair it well and do business honestly. Vinia took Arun's hand and grabbed Lean's wrist. The 3 of them walked away hand in hand. Let's go quickly. Lean's voice was low. I didn't expect scammers to be so rampant at the festival. I'll have to arrange for plainclothes patrols next time. He turned his gaze toward Vinia. So, why is Arun, who fell asleep before dinner, here? Vinia smiled awkwardly. Well, Arun suddenly stepped in front of Vinia. Father, I am Soda Kropka. He looked up with an earnest gaze. Bella is not at fault. I beg her to bring me to see the festival. Please punish me. Lean touched his forehead. Arun, don't worry about things alone next time. You should ask for my permission first. Arun lowered his head. I am Soda. I thought Father wouldn't allow it. Lean's voice softened. Arun, while studying is important, experiencing various things is also important. You can study every day, but the Andrian festival only happens once a year, doesn't it? I originally planned to bring you when you were older and no longer afraid of the festival. This day came sooner than I expected. He gently stroked the child's head. Arun hugged the teddy bear tightly. Next time there's somewhere I want to go, I'll ask for permission first instead of sneaking out. The festival streets were brightly lit and bustling. Arun, holding his arms full of gifts, had a look of admiration in his eyes. Bella, you're amazing. How do you win every time? Vinia raised his chin proudly. I was born with talent. See you at the next festival, little master. The atmosphere suddenly shifted. Lean's eyes sharpened instantly. Who is it? 3 children in ragged clothes blocked their path, their eyes filled with a mix of timidity and wariness. Lean's gaze swept over them. They're just children. But Arun stared at them. Father, can you put me down? Lean was a bit confused. Arun's feet hit the ground, and he immediately ran toward the children. He handed over all the gifts in his arms. These are for you. The 3 children were stunned, staring blankly at the gifts before them. The 3 children took the gifts, turned around, and quickly ran away. Vinia asked softly, Young master, didn't you like that teddy bear very much? Is it really okay to do that? Arun smiled. Yes, I already have 1 teddy bear at home. 1 is enough. He looked up at the night sky, his eyes reflecting the brilliant fireworks. Fireworks bloomed in the air, illuminating the entire street. The 3 of them stood quietly, looking up at the light. Vinia's finger gently poked Lean's arm. He leaned into Lean's ear and whispered, Hurry up and carry him. Lean immediately bent down. Vinia's face turned red. Not me. Lean picked up Arun and hoisted him onto his shoulders. Arun stretched out his arms excitedly. Wow, the sky is so close. Today is the best day of my life. Lean carried the sleeping Arun as he walked home side by side with Vinia. Seeing Arun so happy, I'm also very glad. He turned his head toward Vinia. This is all thanks to you. Vinia smiled and shook his head. No, Your Grace. It's thanks to you that we could see the festival. Who is that person? A strange woman stood before the gates of the Duke's residence. Lean's expression froze instantly. A woman with purple hair and red eyes stood there, gracefully stroking her hair. Vinia's pupils contracted suddenly. A woman. Who is she? Lean's voice was bone-chillingly cold. Renise. Why are you here? Vinia's eyes were full of shock. What? Renise. The three of them stared at the woman from a distance. The air seemed to freeze. Arun's biological mother, Renise Avery. Sunlight poured down, illuminating the magnificent Duke's residence. Arun rubbed his sleepy eyes and yawned. He pushed open the door. Renise was standing in the middle of the hall. Arun was instantly wide awake. Renise rushed toward him and pulled him into a tight embrace. Arun, I missed you so much. Arun was dazed by the sudden hug. He struggled to look up. Who are you? Renise released her arms and gently stroked his cheek. I am your mother. Renise. Arun's pupils constricted. Mother. He looked toward Lean in the distance. Father. Is it true? Lean sat at the table in silence. He gave a slight nod. Renise said with tears in her eyes, It's so good to see you again. Arun was suspicious. Vinia stood in the shadows, his gaze sharp. Why would Renise suddenly return to the Duke's residence? In the original story, Renise was a bad mother who abandoned Arun. When the fire of revenge against the Emperor burned in Arun's heart as he struggled in pain, she never appeared again. Arun lowered his head. I don't want breakfast. He suddenly turned and ran away. Renise reached out in surprise. Son, wait a moment. Arun stopped in his tracks. I specially prepared your favorite chicken soup. Will you have a taste? I made this myself for your first birthday. You ate it so happily back then. Vinia's gaze turned cold. The child said he didn't want to eat. Why was she forcing him? Vinia stepped forward and picked up Arun. I am sorry. Please don't force the young master. Arun looked up in surprise. He's only 5 years old. His mother's sudden return is already hard for him to accept. Arun's small hand tightly gripped the corner of Vinia's clothes. No, Bella. I'll try it. I can eat it. Vinia's expression softened instantly. But thanks to you, I'm okay now. He gently helped Arun to the dining table. Thank you, Bella. Arun picked up the spoon. He took a spoonful of chicken soup. It's delicious. Renise clasped her hands together, a bright smile on her face. Right? Vinia stood in the distance, watching the seemingly harmonious family of three at the dining table. She watched silently, without a word. Maybe he really did come back because he missed Arun. Am I being too suspicious? The butler turned around. Vinia walked up to him. About the master and madam's past. Can you tell me? I don't know the reason for their divorce. Because I never said it in the story. Vinia shook the butler's arm. Please tell me. The butler held his forehead, looking troubled. All right, since she has returned, you should know. The madam's family, the Count Avery family, along with the Tangerlin and Lunas families, are one of the three great count families of the empire. Their power was immense. Therefore, the master and madam were married under the emperor's arrangement. It was a loveless political marriage, but they had young Master Arun. We all thought their married life was relatively smooth. But when young Master Arun was 2 years old, a shocking incident occurred. Lean was returning on horseback. He happened to see the madam furtively sending a letter. She turned her head in terror and saw Lean. It turned out the madam was a spy planted by the emperor, monitoring the master's every move. When Lean learned the truth, he trembled all over from the betrayal. He forced the madam to sign the divorce papers and expelled her from the residence. Lean went to question the emperor, but received no answer. The butler sighed. The plan failed, and they fell out of favor with the emperor. The status of the Count Avery family plummeted. I hear they are now hiding on the border, living in anonymity. Vinia's heart tightened as she listened. The butler gently patted Vinia's shoulder. Perhaps the master had no choice but to let the madam stay temporarily for the young master's sake. Don't worry too much. The master must have his plan. Vinia walked on with a heavy heart. Poor Lean. Lean's angry face appeared in her mind. It's fine. Are you going to say that even though I saw it with my own eyes? So that's how he felt at that time. Renee's return this time must be an order from that bastard emperor. After failing to assassinate Lean multiple times, does the emperor now want to use Renee's? Is now the chance? She must have brought a weapon or poison. Vinia's hand rested on the doorknob. She quietly pushed the door open. Phew, infiltration successful. I must find it before Renise comes back. She pulled open a drawer, searching carefully. Not here. Not in the wardrobe either. Vinia got on the floor and peered under the bed. How can this be? It's not here either. Why can't I find anything suspicious? Vinia knelt on the carpet, looking around the tidy room at a loss. No, there's one more place I haven't checked. She suddenly lifted the bedsheet. Just then, the door was pushed open. Renee stood at the doorway with a look of astonishment. What are you doing in my room? Vinia looked up in terror. Renese. Vinia looked flustered. She knelt on the floor and explained loudly, cleaning. I came to clean. Renee stood quietly at the door, saying nothing. She crossed her arms, coldly scrutinizing Vinia. What's your name? Vinia lowered her head and answered softly, yes. My name is Bella. Renese narrowed her eyes. Miss Bella, I appreciate your kindness, but I will clean this room myself. I hope you won't barge into my room without permission again in the future. Vinia froze. Renese turned around. All right, go back to work. Vinia replied, what's going on? Is that really it? I was caught red-handed barging into her room, and she's just letting me go like this? I thought she would definitely fly into a rage. I was even prepared to be hit. Renese suddenly spoke. Miss Bella. Vinia jumped. Renese smiled. I have a request. When the snow outside stops, could you prepare some hot sandwiches and snacks? Pack them in a picnic basket and deliver them to the training grounds. Vinia was stunned for a moment. Yes, I understand. Renese peeked out from the crack of the door. She smiled and said, thank you. The door closed gently. Vinia stood alone in the hallway, lost in thought. Could it be that Renese, like Edwards, has some hidden troubles? Is she actually not a bad person? On the training grounds, the knights were training in unison. Vinia carried the picnic basket, looking around. Renese's voice called out, Bella, over here. Vinia smiled and waved. Okay, coming right away. She walked over to the picnic blanket. Hello, Bella. Vinia smiled in response. Hello, young master. Renese's tone was flat. Just put it here. Take out the food, then leave. Vinia obediently knelt down. Yes, I understand. Renese gently stroked Arun's head. This was Mom's idea. On such a cold day, it's good to warm up during practice breaks. Wow, it looks so delicious. Arun picked up a sandwich and handed it to Vinia. Bella, will you eat with us too? Vinia was at a loss for words. She quickly shook her head, refusing. And no, I should be heading back. Arun's cheeks were puffed up, his mouth full of food. Oh, what a shame. What are you doing in the sacred training grounds? Lean crossed his arms. He looked down at them expressionlessly. Father. Renese stood up. I'm sorry. It's too cold today. I wanted to let Arun warm up. Lean's gaze fell on Vinia. Bella is dressed so thinly. He turned to Vinia. Give me a cup of tea as well. Then you can go inside. Vinia quickly responded, yes. She reached for the teapot, but Renese stopped her hand. Please, sit here. Renese poured a cup of steaming hot tea and handed it to Lean. Renese said with a smile, here, this is hot tea. She turned to Arun. Arun, are the sandwiches good? Would you like another one? Arun nodded. Lean spoke up to stop them. No, if you want to move your body again, you can't eat too much. Renese smiled and suggested, then how about half a piece? Lean said expressionlessly, no. Renese continued to bargain. Then what about a quarter of a piece? Are you bargaining with me right now? Renese raised her hands. All right, I lose. By the way, Lean, that scarf suits you well. Arun smiled and said, Bella knitted it for him. Isn't it pretty? Renese's heart skipped a beat. Renese gently stroked Arun's head. I see. Bella is really skillful. Lean's voice was calm and firm. She is not only skillful, but also kind and perceptive. And she is my savior. Renese's gaze lowered, and she remained silent. Renese shivered. She exhaled a puff of white air. It's a bit cold. She looked at Lean. Can I borrow that scarf for a moment? Lean's hand, holding the teacup, paused. He called out, Owen. Owen immediately turned and ran over. Did you call for me, sir? Without turning his head, Lean ordered, the madam says she's cold. Get her a blanket. Yes, I understand. Renese's smile froze on her face. Lean put down the teacup and turned to leave. His footsteps echoed in the empty corridor. He returned to his room. He took off the red scarf. He hung the scarf on a hanger. He turned to leave. The scarf slipped from the hanger and fell to the floor. Lean bent down to pick it up. His fingertips touched a hole. A round, burnt hole. Luckily, there's only one hole. But Lean's gaze sharpened. When did this hole appear? The magnificent castle was bathed in sunlight, its spires pointing to the sky. The emperor rested his elbow on the armrest. You've come. Come in. Edwards, make sure no rats followed you. A woman veiled in black walked in. Your Majesty, you need not worry. I checked the whole way. For safety, I changed carriages and also changed my clothes. The Emperor chuckled, as expected of Count Avery's daughter. So meticulous without even being told. He leaned forward, his tone becoming serious. So, have you found Lean's weakness? Renise stood in the center of the great hall. Yes, I have found it. The Emperor's eyes flew open. What? You've already found it? He asked eagerly. What is it? A faint smile touched Renise's lips. Lean, he has a woman he loves. Edwards looked shocked. What? A woman? Don't be ridiculous. How could that block of would have a woman? Perhaps his taste is rather unique. Renise stated calmly. Yes, it seems he has fallen in love with a nanny named Bella. What? A nanny? You're saying that bastard fell in love with a commoner girl? Renise bowed her head slightly. Regrettably, yes. Your Majesty. His fingers tapped lightly on the armrest. Very well. You may go. I will contact you soon. Until then, stand by. Haha. Interesting. Truly interesting. Renise replied, Yes, Your Majesty. Well then, she lifted her skirt and turned to leave. A man was waiting outside the door. Renise's body instantly stiffened when she saw him. Count Tangerlin. She quickly pulled down her veil to cover her face. The man who cut ties with my family after I was offered to the Emperor. Just you wait. I will set everything right. Count Tangerlin was suddenly shoved aside. He staggered and roared, Edwards, you bastard. Edwards grabbed Renise's wrist. She looked up in surprise. Edwards. He pulled her, rushing towards a room. What on earth is going on? He pinned her against the wall. He questioned her sharply. Because of that loose tongue of yours, that nanny named Bella is now in danger. Edwards's eyes were filled with fury. How do you plan to take responsibility? Renise was stunned. Renise scoffed. It's Bella everywhere. Bella, who is she? How come every man loses his mind the moment her name is mentioned? To me, she's just an ordinary commoner. Why? Renise showed a cold smile. Do you know her? Edwards's expression became complicated. What if I do? I don't know. I'm sorry, but what can I do? The damage is already done. If the order is to break his arm, I must break it. If the order is to kill him, I must kill him. You know this better than anyone, don't you? Edward shuddered. You know full well what happens to those who defy the Emperor. If you're that worried, it's not like there's no way. Renise leaned closer to Edwards. Convince him to work at your estate. I would be grateful if you could help me remove him from the board. A few days ago, I caught him sneaking around my room. I was just wondering how to create an incident to drive him away. I've long felt he would obstruct my plans. So take him away before he ends up on the streets. Where did you go? Edwards's eyes darted away. I had to relieve myself. The Emperor sat in his chair. What will you do? Edwards looked confused. What were you saying, Your Majesty? That woman. Bella. How should we use him to destroy Lean? Tell me your thoughts. Cold sweat trickled down Edwards's face. He stammered, his fist clenched unconsciously. You see, Renise hasn't been back at Lean's estate for long. Her information might not be reliable yet. She said she would return after she's fully settled. Perhaps we should wait until then. The Emperor interrupted him. Edwards, when did you become so cautious? Edwards froze. The Emperor stood up. Suspicious. Very suspicious. He approached step by step, his boots making a dull sound on the carpet. The Emperor drew his sword, its tip pressing against Edwards's throat. I'll only give you one chance, Edwards. Answer me honestly. What is your relationship with this Bella? Edwards's pupils constricted. Cold sweat soaked his collar. I must answer carefully. I will make that woman my concubine, and then watch Lean go mad. Edwards's face changed drastically. Cold sweat dripped down. He suddenly dropped to his knees. You cannot do this, Your Majesty. I was ashamed to speak of it before, but now I must tell you. Do you remember? I told you my heart belonged to someone. That woman. The Emperor's pupils contracted. What? Could it be you? Edwards looked up, his eyes pleading. Yes, Your Majesty. That is exactly it. That woman is Bella. The Emperor burst into a fit of wild laughter. He composed himself, his eyes turning sharp. Interesting, truly interesting. A mere commoner, yet she can capture the two best men in the Empire. I'm very curious about her secret. Is she beautiful? Edwards lowered his eyes. No, she's just full of charm and mystery. That's why I want to know more about her. A playful smile touched the Emperor's lips. I see, then you will take her. From Lean's hands, Edwards's pupils constricted. What? Instead of me making a move, wouldn't it be more interesting to watch you snatch that woman from his side? If you fail, I will bring her here myself to see what kind of woman she really is. So do a good job. Even with the bustling crowd and noise, Vinia held a carrot, pausing in front of stall, looking thoughtful. A hand suddenly landed on his shoulder. Vinia looked up. Edwards, Edwards looked down, his expression dejected. Bella, I'm sorry. A flash of surprise crossed Vinia's eyes. He continued, I mistook you for someone else that day. I came specifically to apologize for my rudeness. Vinia looked at him. I accept your apology. Cheer up. Why is he in so much pain? Just because he mistook me for someone else? Vinia gently patted his arm, comforting him. Hey, this is all my fault for borrowing someone else's identity. I'm also at fault. Edwards's tone was firm, but what I said before still stands. Vinia looked at him, puzzled. What do you mean? Come work at my residence. I hope you will seriously consider it. I can offer a higher salary than you have now and better working conditions. The workload isn't heavy. It will be much easier than what you have now. Vinia frowned. Why you offer me all this? Bella, if you're there, I can. In that suffocating house. Catch my breath. My father and brother carouse every night, drinking and making merry with women for brothels. They despise me, calling me the emperor's dog. There's no one at home I can talk to with peace of mind. Not a single one. Vinia's mouth fell open in astonishment. What? Is he crazy? He composed himself. All right, I'll think about it. A faint smile appeared on Edwards's face. Thank you. He turned and left, his back disappearing into the crowd. Vinia stood there, watching the direction he left in, speechless for a long time. Night fell. A magnificent mansion was brightly lit. In the kitchen, ingredients were neatly arranged on the table. Since Arun liked the chicken soup last time, I've prepared a Korean dish, chicken porridge. I hope Arun likes it. He looked towards the dining room. The family of 3 was enjoying themselves. Is he eating the soup Reni's made? Tonight, I prepared a special dinner for Arun. I also left a note for Lean, asking him to eat with us. Maybe Lean didn't see the note. He clenched his fists, a sharp pain in his chest. Vinia leaned against a window in the hallway, gazing at the night scene outside. Why? Why does it hurt so much? He gave a bitter smile. So I did fall in love with Lean after all. I kept saying it was ridiculous that I couldn't possibly fall for a character from my own novel. What should I do? Now that the lady of the house has returned, my feelings are so inappropriate. I should leave, shouldn't I? Lean's gaze swept over the clock. Why isn't Bella here yet? Didn't you say you invited him? Renise put down her fork, her brow furrowed slightly. Yes. Maybe he got the time wrong. Lean's gaze lowered, and he remained silent. He suddenly stood up. I'll go ask him. Renise reached out and grabbed his sleeve. Wait. She leaned close to Lean's cheek and planted a kiss. Lean, I love you. Arun's eyes widened. The spoon slipped from his hand, clattering loudly. The crow guarded the nest, warming the swan's egg. Until one day, the swan returned from a long journey, spreading its white wings. The swan cried, I'm late. I'm sorry. The crow just closed its eyes and replied softly, It's okay. You're here now. Vinia closed the book and looked at the sleeping Arun. He gently stroked his dark hair. A knock came from the door. Lean put down his quill. So late. Who could it be? He said in a deep voice. Come in. Vinia pushed the door open. Good evening. Master. Lean looked up. Come. Vinia walked into the study. Lately, he's barely left it. Is something the matter? He placed a letter on the desk. I'm here to resign from my position as nanny. Lean shot up from his seat. What? Don't be ridiculous. I won't allow it. Why so suddenly? Vinia just looked at him quietly, remaining silent. I absolutely cannot let him know the real reason. Vinia's gaze shifted. I haven't been feeling well. I want to go back to my hometown to rest for a while. Lean leaned forward, his hands on the desk. You're sick? He took a step closer. What was the diagnosis? Vinia subconsciously stepped back. Lean's pupils slightly constricted. She's avoiding me. Vinia avoided his gaze. That's a private matter. I can't say. Lean's tone was firm. Absolutely not. I'll grant you leave. How much time do you need? Vinia lowered her eyes, her expression dejected. Vinia apologized in a low voice. I'm sorry, master. He turned and quickly walked away. Lean reached out to stop him. Bella. Renise grabbed Lean's arm. Lean, I'll go talk to him. You wait here. Renise closed the door. No. Why is he looking at me like that? I had finally made up my mind, but he looks at me with those eyes. It's too cruel. Vinia turned and left, her footsteps echoing in the hallway. Renise caught up to him. Bella. She grabbed Vinia's arm. Wait, let's talk. Vinia stopped, looking at her with a complicated expression. In the room, Renise sat on the sofa. Bella, why are you resigning? You heard what Lean said. Why not just take sick leave? He's such a good person. I really feel guilty for misunderstanding him before. Vinia folded his hands in front of him. He never gives me a day off. He works me to the bone every day. That's why I have to leave. He put a finger to his lips. Madam, please keep this a secret for me. Don't tell the master. Renise's eyes were sharp. Is that really the only reason? Vinia answered affirmatively. Yes. He took a notebook out of his apron pocket. These are some notes I wrote on how to take care of Arun. I hope they'll be useful to you. Renise shook her head. No, Bella. Renese's tone was firm. I don't need this notebook. I need you to stay here, Bella. What I need is you. Vinia closed his eyes, a gentle, helpless smile on his face. Everything will be all right. He gently placed the notebook in Renese's hand. You will do a much better job than I did. Vinia stood up. Well then, goodbye. The door closed gently. Renise looked at the closed door, her eyes cold. The night was as dark as ink, with a full moon hanging high. The mansion was silent under the night sky. Vinia walked into the office with his suitcase. He gently placed a letter on the desk. He pushed open the heavy main doors. Vinia's steps paused for a moment. No, I've come this far. I can't hesitate anymore. He looked back at the magnificent mansion. I must remember why I came to this world. To prevent Lean's death. To stop Arun from becoming the final villain. Vinia's eyes became clear and determined. My departure is the final piece of the puzzle. As long as I leave now, the happy ending will be complete. He walked through the ornate iron gates, his figure resolute. Goodbye, Arun. And Lean. Sunlight streamed down, illuminating the magnificent mansion. Rapid footsteps sounded on the carpet. Lean stopped abruptly, his gaze fixed on the desk. Lean's breathing became heavy. He snatched the letter. The sound of tearing paper was harsh. The letter unfolded. To the master. Because you never give me a day off and work me relentlessly day and night, my body has finally collapsed. Please do not look for me until I contact you. He gripped the letter tightly, his knuckles turning white. The pressure around him dropped suddenly. Renise rushed into the study, her voice anxious. Lean, did you hear? Bella packed his bags before dawn and left the residence. Renise covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes full of shock. Bella left a letter. He used to complain about never getting a single day off. He'd been saying it for a long time. I should have stepped in myself and told him to take a break. Lean's fingers tightened, crumpling the letter further. That's not right. Bella couldn't have forgotten the vacation we spent together. Lean's mind raced. Bella never uses such a stiff, formal tone. This letter is a forgery. The handwriting has subtle differences. His eyes instantly turned cold, killing intent gathering. Bella did not write this. The sun was bright. A magnificent estate stood quietly. Vinia rested his chin on his hands, puffing out his cheeks in boredom. He was curled up on the carpet next to the sofa. Nothing to do. Vinia approached the chef, who was stirring batter. Is there anything I can help with? The chef waved his hands repeatedly, flattered. No. No need. Vinia turned to a maid holding a pile of clothes. Do you need my help? The maid, startled, backed away repeatedly. No, please go away. Vinia collapsed onto the red sofa, letting out a long sigh. I haven't been this bored in a long time. It feels so strange. Theodore pushed the door open, one of his eyebrows raised. Vinia shot up from the sofa. Vinia nervously wrung her hands. Illo, I don't think I've seen you before. I'm Bella, the new maid who just arrived today. Theodore scrutinized the woman before him. Bella. He slowly walked closer. Where are you from? Vinia's eyes darted away. I used to work at Grand Duke Lean's residence. Edwards shielded Vinia behind him. I recruited her myself. Theodore's gaze went past him, landing on Vinia. Lean. Theodore leaned back on the sofa, spreading his hands. A wise choice. If you had stayed there, you would have ended up collecting your master's body anyway, and then lost your job. Vinia's pupils contracted sharply. What? His Majesty the Emperor. Is he still trying to kill Grand Duke Lean? Theodore's brows furrowed slightly. Of course. Do you know why the Emperor is so obsessed with women, keeping dozens of mistresses? A mocking smile played on his lips. Because the Empress was in love with Lean. Vinia was utterly shocked. Unbelievable. Theodore's voice echoed in the room. The woman who had the Emperor head over heels, the wife he brought home. She said she loved Lean and wanted to break off the engagement to be with him. The Emperor already harbored resentment towards his brilliant younger brother. This incident completely triggered his inferiority complex and jealousy. The Emperor completely lost control. Lean must have had a huge headache too, even though he firmly rejected her. The Empress still found excuses to visit the Grand Duke's residence. Then one day, the Empress suddenly disappeared. Everyone knew in their hearts that the Emperor had killed her with his own hands. Vinia covered her mouth in horror. My God, so there was such a secret story behind it all. Sunlight bathed the magnificent residence in a peaceful and serene glow. The long table in the dining room was empty. Is Lean coming too? He went out early this morning. Alan was silent for a moment. Mother. He stirred the soup in his bowl with a spoon, making a soft sound. Can we have something other than chicken soup? Renese's face instantly darkened. What? Renese snatched the soup bowl away. How dare you be a picky eater? Alan, don't you feel sorry for the poor children starving on the streets? Alan's eyes instantly filled with tears, his cheeks flushing red. Renée stood with her hands on her hips, looking down at him coldly. You're not allowed to eat until you promise not to complain again. Alan walked alone down the empty hallway, his stomach growling. So hungry, he puffed out his cheeks resentfully. It's been a whole week, with only chicken soup every day. Alan peeked into the kitchen. Bella would definitely understand how I feel. Bella wasn't there. The kitchen was a hive of activity. A chef noticed the figure at the door. Young Master Alan, what brings you here? Alan looked around. Have you seen Bella? The chef looked troubled. Well, he scratched his head, looking a bit awkward. She resigned last night. Haven't you heard? Alan's pupils contracted suddenly. What? Alan rushed back to his room. Impossible. Bella would never leave without saying goodbye. He was bewildered. His gaze swept around and finally landed on the head of the bed. A teddy bear sat there quietly, holding a pink letter in its arms. A glint of light flashed in Alan's eyes. Found it. He carefully pulled out the envelope. He opened it. To young Master Alan. My departure signifies our parting. The time we spent together is deeply engraved in my heart. I'm sure it's the same for you, young master. I'm leaving for my own sake, but more so that you can grow up better. Alan's eyes grew moist. He clutched the letter tightly. It's hard to understand now, isn't it? When you're a little older, you'll understand what I mean. No matter how far apart we are, my blessings for you and the master will never change. I love you, and I'm sorry. Lean suddenly opened the door. Alan looked up, his face full of confusion. Huh, father? Alan handed the letter over. Lean took the letter, his eyes scanning the handwriting. His pupils contracted sharply. That's right. This is Bella's handwriting that I'm familiar with. Seeing this makes me even more certain. The resignation letter was a forgery. His eyes grew sharp. I must find the real letter before it's too late. Dusk filled the manor. Vinia pushed open the door, a hint of confusion on her face. She stopped abruptly, her pupils dilating. My God, was what Edward said true? A knock sounded at the door. Count, please open the door. Herbert, his face flushed and hazy with drink, complained. What is it? Who's it this late? He ordered Vinia, who was beside him, you go open the door. Vinia trotted to the door. Yes, sir. Two merchants burst in, looking flustered. Count, there's a problem with the spices you provided us. Please help us. Herbert frowned, looking impatient. What's wrong with them? The merchant explained emotionally. We ordered flame peppers, but what was delivered was hell's flour. Herbert interrupted impatiently. What are you talking about? Speak clearly. The merchant explained urgently. They're both red. Count, you must have mixed them up. Flame pepper is made from grinding the skin of a fruit with the same name, right? It's moderately spicy and usually used as a spice. But the powder ground from hell's flour is so spicy, it's completely inedible. Herbert roared. Is being too spicy a problem? Then just use less of it. The merchant looked distressed. We've already mixed it into the cured meat and sausages according to the usual ratio. No one will buy this batch now that it's this spicy. Herbert snorted coldly. What does that have to do with me? You should have checked properly before processing it. He waved them away. Don't ruin my mood. Gout. The merchants were held back by servants, still pleading desperately. Count, please help us. We'll go bankrupt if this continues. These idiots, daring to cause a scene here, barging in the middle of the night. And they reek of pig manure. He sent the wrong thing himself, and now he's blaming others. Edwards sighed softly, pressing a hand to his forehead. Edwards turned to leave. Vinia called out, stopping him. Where are you going? I should be the one to compensate them. Vinia fell into thought. I haven't done anything since I came here. It's time to earn some living expenses. The market square was bustling with noise. Vinia stood before a stall, took a deep breath, and said, everyone. Vinia used a roll of paper as a megaphone, shouting loudly, come and try our spicy sausage skewers. Eat more than one skewer, and you'll win a prize. She continued to promote, everyone can participate except for the elderly and children. A prize is 100 guaranteed. Come give it a try. Someone in the crowd was drawn in. A 100 guaranteed prize? Should we give it a try? Edwards was busy behind the stall. He smiled and handed over the sausages. Here are your sausages, ladies. The women who received the sausages blushed. Oh my God, he's so handsome. His face is a national treasure. As expected, things sold by a handsome man must taste good too. Vinia thought smugly. A handsome part-timer is indeed a powerful promotional tool. A man, his face flushed and drenched in sweat, said, I give up. The woman next to him laughed and patted his back. Hey, you were so confident just now. Another challenger raised his arm. I finished. What's the prize? Vinia pointed at him enthusiastically. Wow, congratulations to this customer. The prize will spun rapidly, and the pointer finally stopped. Vinia announced the prize. The prizes are free sausage coupons, free spice coupons, and various merchandise discount coupons. The crowd erupted in amazement. Wow, there are really no losing spots. That's amazing. I'm going to buy some to take back for my friends. It'll definitely be fun. The merchants looked at the half-empty crates, incredulous. We've already sold more than half. We were about to go completely bankrupt because of the refunds. Miss Bella saved us. Edwards gazed at all of this. This person can always work magic, turning the impossible into possible. Lee must have been charmed by this side of her. The magnificent ducal residence stood quietly in the sunlight. Lean stood in the center of the room. The door was pushed open forcefully. Renise walked in. Oh my God, is this dress for me? I love it so much. Renise clasped her hands to her chest, her eyes filled with emotion. Owen stepped forward. Madam, I will take you to select some accessories to go with the dress. The two left side by side, Renise's face beaming with a happy smile. Lean stood alone by the window, gazing at their backs. His dark eyes were downcast, his expression cold. The room was a mess, with clothes scattered all over the floor. It's not here. Lean's gaze swept over the messy floor. Where did they hide the original? Lean turned and gave an order. Restore this place to its original state. The butler bowed respectfully. I understand. Lean was about to leave when he suddenly stopped. His gaze was drawn to something on the floor. A burnt piece of paper. He bent down to pick it up, rubbing it gently between his fingertips. This pattern and color. It's identical to the stationery of the letter left for Alan. They burned the original. Lean's fists clenched tightly, fury surging in his dark eyes. The door was pushed open, and Renise walked out, humming a little tune. Her steps were light. Just as she stepped out the door, she bumped into a solid chest, letting out a gasp. Renise looked up and glared at the person. Are you just going to walk away after bumping into someone? Renise was startled for a moment. A card slipped from her skirt. Renise quickly tucked the card back into her skirt. Madam, shall we go then? She suddenly stopped, a gentle smile on her face. Owen, could you go on ahead? There's somewhere else I need to go. Owen bowed respectfully. Yes, I understand. Owen's figure receded into the distance. She pulled the card from her skirt and gently unfolded it with her fingertips. The writing on the paper was clear. Tomorrow night, meet the person I send near here. Renise stared at the card in her hand, her brows furrowed. How strange. We agreed not to make contact proactively. This is definitely the royal seal. Could it be an emergency? She looked around cautiously, confirming no one was there. Then she held the card to a torch on the wall, and the paper was instantly consumed by the flames. Owen picked up the burnt fragment from the ground, looking at it thoughtfully. Night enveloped the empty street. Renise looked around anxiously, all alone. She cupped her hands around her mouth and called out softly, I'm here. A figure emerged from the alley. Renise turned in pleasant surprise. Lean's figure appeared at the mouth of the alley. He stood tall and straight, his expression cold. The joy on Renise's face instantly froze, and she stopped dead in her tracks. She looked at him in shock and horror, her voice trembling slightly. How did you find this place? Lean pushed a suitcase towards her. I won't tell His Majesty this time. Renise's pupils contracted. Lean's voice was ice cold. So, from now on, don't ever appear before me again. She trembled all over, her hands falling limply to her sides, as if all her strength had been drained. Renise collapsed to the ground. When? When did you find out? Lean's gaze was indifferent. From the moment the scarf Bella knitted for me was damaged, I already knew about you sneaking into the residence. I don't know what you two talked about, but I don't need to see to know. At first, I was deceived too, thinking you really came back because you missed Alan. I was originally planning to let you show your face for a few days and then send you back. He drew his sword, the blade glinting coldly. But the feeling of suspicion wouldn't go away, so I could only continue to observe. The blade pressed against her neck. What was your purpose in coming back? Did the Emperor send you to assassinate me? A mocking smile appeared on Renise's face. Why should I tell you? Lean's eyes turned suddenly icy, filled with killing intent. Because if you don't talk, I will kill you. Renise let out a scornful laugh. Huh, go ahead. There's no difference between going back to starve and dying here. Our family was ruined because of you, and you never offered a helping hand. Renise looked up at him. You asked why I came back. I came back to make a living. The Emperor cut off all our business dealings. The family is now mired in debt. Unlike before, I just had to talk about you occasionally, so I gladly accepted. Lean's voice was as cold as ice. Is that really the only reason? What about your sympathy or sense of responsibility for Alan? Is there really none of it left? Renise closed her eyes, her tone calm. You know Alan was just an insurance policy in case you found out the truth, don't you? Of course. I never thought you would kick me out so quickly. The tip of Lean's sword trembled slightly. That child tried so hard to accept you. Lean sheathed his sword. Now, get out of my sight before I change my mind. Renee's eyes sharpened. Fine. She turned to leave. Oh, right. Don't worry. I never gave the Emperor any information that would get you killed immediately. But I did tell him your weakness. Bella. Lean's pupils contracted. In the empty room, Vinia leaned alone on the huge red sofa. She let out a long yawn. So boring. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Vinia whipped her head around. She flung the door open. Yes? A man was standing outside the door. Lean. Vinia's pupils dilated instantly. How'd Lean find this place? Lean's gaze was as calm as still water. I am Lean. Winthrop. Bella, I've come to hire you as Alan's official tutor. Not a nanny. A tutor. Edwards suddenly appeared, pulling Vinia behind him. Duke Winthrop, you're as unreasonable as ever. Bella has already signed a contract to work at my manor. Edward's voice was filled with sarcasm. Unlike some people, I don't coldly abandon others when they're useless, only to drag them back when they're needed. Vinia was terrified. How dare he say that so openly? He's insane. Lean's expression was calm. Edwards, you've got it all wrong. He took a letter from his coat. I never approved Bella's resignation letter. Lean's tone was flat. Therefore, your contract was invalid from start. Edward's face flushed red. This is just sophistry. Lean looked directly at him. I needed Bella in the past. I need her now, and I will need her in the future as well. Edwards was furious. Damn it, lying without even blinking. Vinia quickly grabbed him. Edwards, wait a moment. She turned to Lean and lowered her head. Master, no, Duke Lean. There's something I failed to tell you. I once searched the madam's room without permission. I'm ashamed to admit this. Vinia's hands gripped her skirt tightly. After that, I was always suspicious and wary of her. That's why I was too ashamed to go back. Lean's voice was soft. Really? You did well back then. Vinia's eyes widened slightly. What? Lean took a step forward. I never trusted Renise from the beginning, but I did wonder if she really came back because she missed Alan, so I gave her some time. He gently took Vinia's hand. It was my fault. I should have discussed it with you. After all, you're so perceptive. Renise was wandering around without permission. I suspected there were surveillance devices in the residence, so I couldn't make a move. Lean continued. Last night, I kicked Renise out of the residence again. She has gone back to being the Emperor's dog, spying on me. What? Vinia grabbed Edwards' sleeve. Edwards, did you know about this too? Edwards bit his lip, speechless. Vinia let go of his hand. I see. Vinia placed a hand on her chest, her expression resolute. Grand Duke, I accept your offer. Edwards tried to stop her. No, Bella, you can't do this. Let's go inside and talk. Vinia broke free from Edwards' grasp. I have to go. You don't really need me here, do you? But Alan, who is all alone again, will definitely need me. Edwards looked pained. Vinia turned and waved goodbye, a smile on her face. Thank you for everything you've done for me. If you need me again, just call. I'll come right away. Edwards' expression was downcast. He pressed a hand to his forehead. No, the Emperor won't let Bella go. He might already know everything about her. Lean reached out and placed a hand on his arm. Don't worry, Edwards. His tone was firm. I will definitely protect Bella. The two returned to the ducal residence together. The magnificent building stood tall in the morning light. Alan had tears in his eyes. Bella. He rushed forward and hugged Vinia tightly. I missed you so much. I thought I'd never see you again. Vinia gently stroked his head. I'm sorry, young master. She knelt down and took Alan's hands. I promise I will never leave again without your permission. Really? Vinia replied gently. Really? Alan and Vinia made a pinky promise. Lean, standing at a distance, cleared his throat. Bella. I have something to say. Vinia's eyes were full of anticipation. Okay, please say it. Lean's cheeks were slightly red. He scratched his hair, looking a little awkward. Would you be my partner for the ball? Vinia's cheeks flushed, her eyes darting away. I'm sorry. I can't attend the ball. Lean's expression froze. Why? Why not? Vinia clasped her hands in front of her chest, looking troubled. Vinia laughed awkwardly. I can't run in my father at the ball. You know, I'm a fugitive. Lean's eyes were suspicious. Is that really the only reason? Vinia nodded quickly. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry. Lean fell into thought. Lost in thought. The next day, a knock sounded on the door. Vinia slowly woke up in her bed. The butler called out anxiously. Bella, Vinia, her eyes still heavy with sleep, replied, "Yes? What's happened? Come to the guest room on the first floor, quickly." Vinia rubbed her sleepy eyes. HM, she quickly ran downstairs. "What's going on?" She twisted the doorknob and opened the door. Three maids greeted in unison. "Good morning." Mississippi Vinia stood frozen in place. What is all this? She looked around. The entire room was filled with gorgeous dresses. What on earth happened here? Vinia stood stunned in the middle of the room, not knowing what to do.